Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What is up, Panther fans? Welcome to the C3 Panthers Podcast. Tonight's show, inside the mind of a savant. And I know that's what you want. The C3 Panthers Podcast, a day late, but never missing a beat. That's right. The longest running Panthers podcast hasn't missed a week, and this is our 11th year. And while yesterday we celebrated America, the Republic of America, of the United States, we took that time with our families. Hopefully everybody had a happy 4th today. We're back with our C3 family, and we're trying to get this thing rocking and rolling through the misery, through the drudgery of nothing to talk about. But I know if I've got nothing to talk about, I know who I don't want to talk about it with, and that's my boy Cody Lashney.
What's up, brother? Hey, man, look, it doesn't matter what's going on. We'll figure out a way to do a 4-hour podcast about nothing and have a great damn time doing it, man. But listen, we're going to be juxtaposing two recent decisions made by our quarterbacks, but by two very popular quarterbacks, ours, Bryce Young, and CJ Stroud. Let's just say that CJ is drawing a little bit of some criticism compared to what Bryce has been doing. We're, again, going to revisit the tease of DeAndre Hopkins and this rumor that the Panthers are the leader in the clubhouse for Jadeveon Clowney. White chocolate might get his wish even still, but you know what? We're going to do this with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube. You already know them and love them. It's Jorge Marcelo, Adam Sanders, my guy Drew. What's up, Drew? These ill skills. What's up, brother? Cheshire Cat in the building. Eric, Key. What's up, Key? Kristen Ladane, Lawrence Trevette, Scott Thomas, Tyler Jones, White Chocolate Espresso, that man Panther Pickle, Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
Donald Rumsfeld once said, there are things we don't know, and there are things we know that we don't know. There are things we don't know that we don't know. And I don't know what we're going to talk about tonight, CK, but I got an idea that we're going to figure something out. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm living the dream as
you say,
normal in my life. And it's the way I look at it is just the NFL has rate limited its news today.
Oh God, can we talk? Are we gonna have to talk about that at some point?
I'll have some ice ups, and it might include our boy Cody Lack in that. But
oh, come on, let's fight. I'm ready to go.
But nonetheless, man, it's just good to be here chopping up the Panthers. Opinions tonight more so than anything else, just simply because the news is quite putrid, as it were. So I'm just happy to be here with you boys.
Greg, turns out the Rumble is grumbling with us. I don't know if we set the show right up correctly on it, but it is not currently broadcasting there. And Greg is the guy who wants to Rumble rather than YouTube. I tell you that his mic may be muted, but I bet you I'm going to give him the bat signal, the bat daddy signal, to get that mic unmuted and get back in this show. How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing good, man. Give me the signal is a good idea because I definitely would have forgotten. I actually kind of thought it was, forgot it was, and I hate when I do that. But yeah, what's up, man? Sorry, trying to get this Rumble stream up. I guess every time I do it, I've got to open up a new stream and connect it to YouTube. I'm not sure. I didn't realize it was like that.
Or maybe start a video in Rumble. That might how you have to create it in Rumble probably.
Yeah.
We'll start the show off with this. Other than telling you guys this, is that the number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. We want to get your thoughts on what to talk about tonight. I do actually hear I challenged some people. I challenged the listeners of the show to call in. You can even text that number crazily. Why would you do that when you're in the chat? I don't know. But call in and tell us what you think the top 3 storylines in your mind are going into training camp. And I'm going to challenge all the people on this panel right here to also think of that as what are the top 3 storylines in your mind as we head to Spartanburg, South Carolina in just about 22 days, something like that, 20 days, somewhere in there. And I'll start you guys off with a question. Here's a fun one. Here's a little trivia question. Cody, you cannot answer this first. At what school was tackle Brady Christensen a 3-year starter before the Panthers drafted him in the 3rd round of 2021? We'll start this show off with a little bit of Brady Christensen trivia. CK, do you know the answer?
Oh gosh, man.
No,
I feel like for whatever reason, and I'm probably wrong, it was a blue uniform, right?
I have no idea what their color is. It's they wear magic underwear though. Greg, do you know Brady Christensen's college school?
Ooh, pick me.
We know you know it, Cody.
Pick me.
You're
He's
muted.
muted, which is awesome. Don't worry, he didn't know anyway.
Oh, that's why you should pick me.
I did not know, correct.
Cody, I threw away the piece of paper before checking the answer. But if I started the answer with B, would I be correct?
Boise.
Oh, you sure would.
No. I mean, maybe if your Mormon mom went to Boise.
Yes.
But I believe Brady Christian went to BYU.
Brigham Young University, baby.
Oh, man. I knew it. Anyway.
They saw Kev says blue and white.
Hey, I was close.
All right, here we'll do one more.
Cougars.
We'll pop into this show. Let's see. Here's a little Savant fact for you. The Panthers reached the playoffs via a wild card berth for the first time when they went 11-5 in 2005. That can't be right. Maybe the first time as a wild card. What a piece of. I mean, I know this is. I'm gonna read it one more time. June 27th was the. We got a lot of trivia to do. The Panthers reached the playoffs via a wild card berth for the first time when they went 11-5 in 2005. That means they must have won as a division winner
previously. Yeah.
Okay. All right, inside the mind of a savant. We hope you savant it a lot. Why did you name the show this, Cody? Because our quarterback's brilliant.
Yeah, well, we don't know that our quarterback is brilliant. But I think we're going to find out, especially this season, just how brilliant the man is. And the reason why I have titled the show that tonight, an NFL executive says that the Carolina Panthers quarterback, Bryce Young, is a mental savant. Now, this is coming by the way of Dove Kleiman, but this was said by Jeremy Fowler on ESPN's Get Up. Fowler said, "I was told his mental aptitude has been as advertised. That's what we've known for drafting. That's what we've known throughout the draft process. He was known as a mental savant. I was told the Panthers offense is hard to install. It's got shades of the Los Angeles Rams system from new offensive coordinator Thomas Brown. No quarterback bats 100 in learning it the first month. But I was told that he was pretty darn close to 100%. So the Panthers really believe that as long as he has command of the offense, they're in good shape. They don't need him to be a hero because this is a really good emerging roster." Listen, I know that there are those of you, Greg, who want to see this man prove it before you start to heap the accolades on him. And I understand that sentiment. But the more and more time goes on and the more these stories continue to come out, the more bullish that I am that Bryce is going to break rookie records this season. He's going to spread the ball around.
7,000 yards passing.
He's going to be electric. 8,000. Come on, Tony. Electric on offense. I'm so excited to see what Bryce Young is going to do, man. And the more and more that I hear about this, I really do envision a scenario where Bryce hits the ground running. I don't think he's going to have a lot of rookie mistakes like other quarterbacks have had recently.
This shows you we're in the doldrums. We're in the doldrums of discussion. These are all the same things we knew a month ago, 2 months, like the same sound clips or whatever. They're just taking and recycling and trying to find some way to piece together in a different way to write something of interest at this point.
The night is always darker just before the dawn, and training camp is right around the corner, and there will be plenty of news to be able to celebrate and talk about. But right now, we just got to get through these next 3 weeks. We got to be here for one another. We got to just continue to push out our own opinions. And right now, talking about Bryce Young is hot.
It's hot news, baby.
Ooh, it's
Hot
here.
news.
It's been hot though, right? Like Bryce Young is like,
Yo, bro, that shit was fire,
shit
bro.
Yeah, like-
actually, like
look, I think it's so funny. Like people, especially in like this fantasy league that we're in, this fantasy league, the dynasty league we're in, not just there but everywhere. People talking about the hate for Bryce Young. It's like people are of the mindset that if you don't absolutely love Bryce Young, like if this is not the guy that you are 100% just laying it all on the line for, then you're 100% against him. There are only two ends of the spectrum. And it's
Greg,
so
you're
funny
our
to see
villain.
people like this.
You're our villain.
I am. No, I will be. That's fine. If I'm the one who's going to look at things with a realistic point of view, I'm okay with that because I'm okay with being wrong. I just try to make the most educated guesses based on the information I have. And right now, I have no information on him.
Now, if there's somebody who's going about it that way, like, if Bryce Young isn't the list of in the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, in your opinion, you're just wrong. I don't think that the majority of people feel that way. I think the majority of people feel like that when you were in the pre-draft process, every single person had Bryce Young as QB1. Like it was a QB1A and QB1B, don't get me wrong, but I think that there's a sentiment that has changed simply because he's wearing a different color, right? The process blue, if you will. And I think that is where people feel like this man's being disrespected, is that it doesn't feel like that same hype around him was there prior, that it was prior to the draft. And it's only one thing that's different, and that is the team that they went to. The fact is, if you're looking at Bryce Young and you're looking at CJ Stroud right now, if anybody looks at these rosters and thinks that the Houston Texans have a better shot of having a successful season than Bryce Young and the Panthers, you're absolutely out of your mind. And that is where I think the people feel like like when you look at what people are saying about these two quarterbacks, like Bryce Young is just not he's not going to be flashy, right? Mm-hmm. He's not going to be out here. He might make a, again,
here you go. Here he's just teeing you up, Cody.
Yeah. well, look, you're right. He's not going to be flashy, but here's the thing. Like if the situation were reversed, okay, we would make excuses for Bryce Young because he has a team that's not as good. I'm not so much worried about what the team does, because here's the thing. This can be true. CJ Stroud can have a better year than Bryce Young and the team not be as successful.
Sure.
So that's more what I'm looking for, is not necessarily the team success, because team success goes kind of hand in hand with the quarterback success most of the time. But I want to see the overall success. And the thing is, like I said, if CJ Stroud does a little bit worse than Bryce Young, people who are Bryce Young fans are going to say, well, there you go. That's proof. But if it was the other way around, they would say, well, he's not set up the same way on a better team. It's just the way the arguments go. It's so funny to see how it works.
What do we got here, Cody?
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I mentioned that we're going to be bringing up the decisions between the two quarterbacks that we're talking about, Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud went to what's called a white party. I don't know if you have seen this on Twitter, but it's basically all these celebrities and football players and influencers. They all show up to this party dressed in all white, and that's where CJ Stroud was. Bryce Young has been getting in reps with Terrace Marshall Jr., Adam Thielen, and Laviska Shenault. He is actively working and preparing to be a better quarterback. And this is what I'm driving home when it comes to Bryce Young. You're not going to draft a 5'10", 200-pound quarterback with the #1 overall pick and trade up to get him unless he does have that savant type fortitude and a work ethic and a dedication to his craft that is second to none. This is not Kyler Murray having to have a provision put in his contract about him having to study the playbook. Bryce does that unprompted because he wants greatness like he needs his next breath of air. That is why I'm so excited for this young man and what he's about to do this season. Damn it, y'all are going to start picking up what I'm putting down because Bryce Young is about to be more ahead of the curve than any rookie you've seen in the past decade, bro. What's up?
I hope you are right. I really do. And you very well could be. So everybody out there calling me a hater. No, I don't think he's going to be garbage. I really don't. I think Bryce Young has the potential to be really good. I just want to see it. Same way with CJ Stroud.
Trying to tell me.
Same way with CJ Stroud. I want to see it.
So you're trying to tell me that that CJ Stroud went to a white party. I almost thought you were going to say that's where they dressed in whiteface.
Oh,
that'd be messed up.
Is this
they are
right
well
here,
in all, they are all wearing white, right? So
yeah,
okay.
so Tom Brady was there, Jay-Z and Beyonce was there, DJ Khaled. It was basically like a big time event for like influencers and celebrities and shit. And
so you're telling me that, and then I look over in this video and I see Bryce Young going as CJ Stroud in this video. What's up?
Yeah.
We haven't talked about the twist
yeah.
whatever is the new haircut, the new haircut or the new hairstyle. People all sitting there going, I thought I was looking at CJ Stroud.
They look eerily similar.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to lie, dude.
I think it's just a glance. I think we've been so mentally programmed with the
that's possible
to think that versus that.
Sure. But I will say, I don't know what it is, but the hair being like this makes me feel way more confident about Bryce Young.
Yeah, got a little bit of swag.
I don't know
now. I love it, man.
It's a weird thing. I don't know what it is. I feel like with the, when he had his hair just, plain, nothing really out of the ordinary, it just felt like he was too young. Like he felt like he was young, felt like maybe a little bit of softness. When I see this right now, man, I feel like this dude's got a fire. I don't know what it is. That hair does it for him.
Yeah. Look, I don't really care what the hairstyle is of the quarterback that's on the, or any player on the field. But here's the thing. I would recommend not having long hair because you can legally be pulled down by your hair in the NFL, which I think is kind of a dumb rule. I think it's kind of dumb to be able to not be able to horse collar, which I think is good. You shouldn't be able to horse collar, but you can grab somebody by the back of their hair and pull them down.
You can't pull the hair and do the horse collar type of thing, though. You can't pull down on the hair because that's still considered horse collar.
Really?
Okay, but as of right now, they're not even long enough for him to popping out the bottom of the helmet. So I mean, we're the only point that I want to drive home, and I think I did an okay job explaining it, is that this is a guy who has never played an NFL snap in his life and is already preparing for this next season like he is a veteran and a professional. Yeah. And by the way, don't take my words for it. If you want to say
his word. Did you hear what he said in that press conference when he was asked what he was going to do on the break? Do you remember that?
Right. He said he was going to prepare and get better.
Like that's what he said. That is fun.
That's what he has fun doing. And the fact that Bryce Young, you already have NFL executives saying that it's a hard playbook to learn. They've got a lot of Los Angeles Rams, Sean McVay style concepts. And Bryce is damn near 100% on the playbook right now and is with his receivers getting on the same page. Bro, I'm telling you, man, this guy has it. He has that it factor. He has, to quote David Gettleman, he has Luke Kuechly DNA, but he happens to have it at the most important position in football.
I want to be careful in me trying to find reasons that I really am excited about Bryce Young and not feeling the necessity and drafting people. Right. So, like, wow, I want to celebrate his mental acumen, his commitment to the game. I also don't want to inadvertently throw CJ Stroud under the bus just because he went to a party. Right. And he's doing everything he needs to be doing, and you don't want to just use those things as verification by whatever to make your person feel better. So I don't want to trash on CJ Stroud to feel better about Bryce Young. There is I haven't heard. I do know that CJ Stroud got some loot in college, right? And there is that one when they went on the Pivot podcast and him and Bijan Robinson, I think were both up there.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just talking about the type of cars he was driving to college, like the G-Wagon, like this mug's in the G-Wagon. These are like $180,000 vehicles or some mess like that, probably. It just was like, holy crap, these guys are getting thrown into that world so early now. Think about the temptations that come with being a mega millionaire. When you go to the NFL, to go to all these like how do you turn down Beyonce's birthday party? And you're like, oh crap, I guess I should go study.
No, Tony, I have to disagree.
But now they have to do that now at 18 in college because they're getting loot thrown at them. So those challenges are there. They've always been there, but they're even there earlier for them. And we'll see if there is if Bryce Young truly is, something different, or are we just trying to find something that we like?
But Tony, this is why I disagree with you, because CJ Stroud ain't shit. He's not shit. And no, hear what I mean when I say that.
Means.
No. I'll gladly tell you what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
when the Browns drafted Baker Mayfield, he was doing GQ magazines, he was doing commercials, he was acting like a celebrity before he had ever proven anything in the NFL. Okay. Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, and by the way, you all know that I like CJ Stroud coming through the draft. For a long time, he was my preferred.
He ain't done shit.
He was my preferred candidate. I'm saying you have not proven a damn thing in the NFL. Why are you palling around with billionaires just to get your name out there? You haven't done a damn thing in the NFL. I don't have a problem with him going to the party. What I'm saying is that if you're going to ask me to make a comparison between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, and who made the better decision to go pal around with celebrities, or who decided to go and team up with their receivers and get better and prepare for the season? I'm taking Bryce, and that's why he was the number one pick in the draft.
Maybe children weren't
CJ
invited.
Stroud.
Maybe they ran out of chicken nuggets.
How dare you?
I mean, the other part of this is like we saw him go out and do that work. I mean, there's also a possibility that CJ Stroud is doing the exact same amount of work. The only difference is that on one of his nights off, he went to this party.
Yeah.
Right?
What if he was just shadowing Tom Brady?
Right. Well, I mean, that part, the other part of it is the dude's now technically a celebrity. I mean, he's living in one of the most popular states to live in right now, down in Texas. I don't know where that party was. It might've been in LA, who knows, but the dude, listen, he's come into the league. He's a number 2 overall draft pick. And I think that there is a sense of, trying to feel like you're a part of something like that. I think that I don't blame him for going to that party. Now, if he's not out there doing the same things with his receivers and trying to, get that relationship with those guys, then sure, I think there's a worry for CJ Stroud and his leadership skills. But I don't know that we've seen one night of partying isn't enough for me to, throw him under the bus.
Right.
Listen, I'm not saying that he's a bad leader. I'm saying to choose to prepare for the season or to go and pal around with celebrities when you have not proven that you're even a one-year wonder. He hasn't even had one good season yet. And Greg, I hear you rolling your eyes.
Yeah, because
Greg, what I'm saying is, if you have the mindset that you want Bryce to prove something before we start dumping all the accolades on him. That's fair. But right now, our quarterback is preparing to get better, and you have another quarterback that instead chose to spend that time palling around with celebrities when he hasn't proven that he is even worth a damn in the NFL yet.
But it's so funny how you describe that, because you put the caveat in there like, I don't mind that he did this, but I'm going to hold him accountable for it in this argument and say that because he did it, he's worse than him. But I don't mind that he did it, So it's like, which is it? Do you mind that he did it, or does it make a difference in your opinion? Because it has to matter to you if it makes a difference in your opinion.
Okay, how about this? Joe Burrow was there. I have zero problems with Joe Burrow being there. Joe Burrow is one of the baddest motherfuckers in the NFL right now.
But here's my thing: is Joe Burrow's a different story, because, like you said, he's proven something in the NFL. So for you to say this, it has to mean that you minded that he did this. Otherwise, it wouldn't change your opinion either way.
Or you wouldn't have brought it up.
Or you wouldn't have brought it up. Exactly.
I think you're just using it as a springboard. Our boy Bryce is so beautiful.
No. I'm not saying it makes him a bad leader. I'm saying this is not a decision that's very mindful of how it looks compared to his contemporaries, including Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson.
How about this? If you're keeping score on a chalkboard and you're going to give one player a point just based on what they've done at this point, are you going to knock him that point for what he's done right now, for not going to this thing? Because that's what it sounds like, is you're taking him down a notch to say, look how much better Bryce Young is because he didn't do this.
He just wants to say Bryce Young is the best thing ever.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
And that's great. Yeah. That's great. So
I'm saying Bryce made a better decision between the two.
You don't even know if he was invited.
But he, not even just that. Like, the thing I have an issue with is is a strong way to say this, but Bryce Young, he did one practice during the day. Like, we don't know what he did that night. He might have went out and partied too. Like, we don't know that. He just didn't have a picture put it on social media.
Hanging out with that dude that played.
We don't know that he wasn't partying.
We don't know that, Cody. How do you know that? You don't know that, man. Come on,
He's a Boy Scout.
I don't even care about this.
Scout, bro. He's a Boy Scout.
I think this is what I do think is what we're really hoping for in this, out of all of this, and finding any, and Cody's searching the internet far and wide and deep. I mean, there's not much to talk about, so thanks for searching that way. That we're looking for anything to continue to point to us or give us encouragement that this is the type of guy that we selected.
Sure.
And that is, in many ways, and I don't want to say that, like, again, we've talked so much about how he's the opposite of Cam Newton. And again, I don't want to throw Cam under the bus to make me feel better about Bryce.
Right.
But I think that a lot of people have longed for a different type of quarterback in Carolina,
right,
than we've had, and that is one who's an A-lister, like a top tier, but one who is more of a traditional. I had this guy at work he just doesn't like Cam, and I'm a Cam, I'm a Cam sexual. I would defend him at every moment and every turn. And he would just say, he said things like this, is I'm just ready for a quarterback that can get up there and be the Peyton Manning, the offensive coordinator, like you said, the Luke Kuechly in that light. And he just wanted a different style of quarterback than Cam Newton, because I was getting all hype on Anthony Richardson and like, oh man, imagine that. It's just like this. And then he's like, I just want something different. And so I think that this is, it's just like, that's what you drafted him to be. That's exactly what you selected him for. You didn't select him for the physical upside. You didn't select him because the diminutive size was concerning. You selected him because of the matter between his ears. You found superior, the DNA, that it factor, that Kuechly type DNA. That's what you selected him for. So the fact that you don't see him at the white party, it's just so weird, dude. Just saying it to me is why you selected him. You selected him because he is a Boy Scout. You select him because he is an Eagle Scout. And right now, You selected him because of this headline. He's a savant.
Are
He's
you
a
all, are
savant
the
in
three
a
of
lot.
you are the three of you going to tell me that if it was vice versa and Bryce had went to this white party or whatever and CJ Stroud was out there practicing with his team, you're telling me that none of you would care at all whatsoever?
Not a single bit.
No, yeah, I wouldn't.
Not
I wouldn't.
one
And the
bit.
reason
Not,
is,
Alright.
not at this
Here's-
point in time right now. no.
here's
Yeah.
to be fair to Cody, if the idea is real, right? Like, let's say that CJ Stroud is not out there with his people. Bryce Young is. Bryce Young isn't partying. He's just studying his playbook every night, right? If those things are real, then that's a true concern, right? If you're a Houston Texans fan, you're looking at that and you're like, oh man, this might be a leadership issue, right? This might not be somebody who's coming in here ready to be the most prepared quarterback in the NFL. We don't know. We also don't know whether or not Bryce is actually out there doing the same stuff in maybe a different way. Like, it's just, there's a lot
Or
of
can you
unknowns
do
about it.
both? You can do both.
You
know what I'm
could.
saying? It's
You
like,
could do
that's
both,
the thing is
yeah.
I felt like there was always unwanted criticism or unnecessary criticism on Cam for being on a cover or something or so. It's like, is that who cares? Who cares? It's like you can only. I mean,
I
at some
do.
point, you want them
Of
to like
course.
read a book that's not about football and to live a human life in some way. So I just don't think, I think for anything is I just think CJ Stroud has a lot to prove to a lot of people. And there's a lot of question marks around CJ Stroud. And there's a lot of questions about Bryce and they haven't done
Right.
anything.
And
Neither of
Bryce
them.
is taking even moments in the offseason to answer for those questions.
Oh gosh.
Is CJ
How
Stroud
do you know
struggling?
CJ Stroud isn't though?
Is CJ Stroud struggling right now?
No,
I don't
everybody
know.
said he's been doing great.
But he hasn't
When
officially.
when I say everybody, the one article I saw.
He's
Oh, there you
still
go.
number 2 on their roster, though. He hasn't been moved up to the starter behind Davis Mills.
Oh,
Right.
he will. I'm pretty sure
Oh,
he
he
will. But
will?
again, I mean, we'll see. He has to prove it. Hey, if Greg can get to say, I want Bryce to prove something before I heap all the accolades on him,
Okay.
then you have to keep it the same way for CJ
Agreed.
Stroud. For
Agreed.
two young men who have not proven a damn thing in the NFL,
They
one
should
of them,
not
one
eat,
of them is
drink, or
palling
sleep
around
anything but
with
football.
people that have proven themselves before, and the other one is busy preparing with his teammates that the entire media is
Crazy.
sleeping on
So-
this
So,
year.
how far, just out of curiosity, because you say that he doesn't do anything else other than this, which I don't, there's no way. But like, how far do you think when he says, well, I've been working with these players and this and this, it's like, what is that? Is that like we get together and have dinner and talk about plays? Is that we practice an extra hour every week or every day? Because like, I mean, how much dedication
They make
are you
cool
talking? You're making
Instagram
it sound
videos
like
for
No,
Cody
it's
to
about
look at.
being on. No, that's bullshit. It's about being on the same rhythm and timing on certain routes. And if
Right.
Bryce already knows the playbook and they already know what routes they're going to key in on this year, getting your quarterback and your receivers on the same timing before you even go to practice, that puts you a step ahead of the curve.
Crazy.
But what
You
I
can
mean, what I
make all
mean
the
is,
faces
what,
you
what I
want,
mean
Tony.
is,
I'm not wrong,
yeah,
dude.
doing this at this point in time, seems a little less significant than maybe down the road as training camp starts and you're going like I feel like
This is
it's
the
one,
exact
it's one of those
time you
arguments
go
that if
to
you
the
have
white
one extra
party.
practice, you're going to be better. And it's like, well, okay,
Okay.
but does one extra practice really make you that much better? Is all I mean.
Hey, what did Tom Brady say? 1% better. Always trying to be 1% better. And by the way, I put up a poll in the chat. It may be 3-on-1 right here, but 58 to 41 or 59% to 41% agree
did
with
you
me.
word
I
it?
said, does
How'd
CJ
you word
Stroud
it?
look bad choosing to go to a party instead of practicing with this team like Bryce? 59% say yes. 41%
silly.
say no.
So
Holla
silly.
at your boy. What's up?
So silly. The
Holla
numbers
at your boy.
The number's 252-228-5098. I've already asked. I asked you guys to come up with 3 storylines heading into training camp. Somebody already texted in. They also they want us to rank the NFC South. One of the things I also want to do is go around and pick division winners around the league. Here were their 3. Three storylines heading into training camp. JC Horn injury, number one. Finding a pass rusher beside Brian Burns, number two. And how good will Bryce Young be in year one? Those are the three top storylines heading into training camp for that individual. Thanks for tuning in to the C3 Panthers podcast. Smash the thumbs up button. Give us a subscribe and get ready. In just a couple of weeks, we'll be at Monster Subs Thursday. What is it? What's the 26th?
9th.
No,
Oh, no, 8th.
What's the Thursday?
The first day is the 26th. We'll be down there from the 26th to the 30th.
Yeah.
The 3 days that we're actually going to be able to be at training camp are the 26th, the 27th, and the 29th. The 29th is the back together day with the charity that we're going to be going with PNP. They're having a little charity event after training camp on Saturday. But I think, are we planning on doing something
Thursday the 27th? Monster Subs. Come on out. We're going to go basically right after training camp. We'll head there, get lunch, set up, and do our live post training camp podcast from Monster Subs in Spartanburg, South Carolina. We're doing it there because this is, hey, Muscles Marinero, supporter of the show, before we even knew he owned a restaurant in Spartanburg. So we said, hey, why not? Let's give it back. Let's pay it back by going and hanging out there. You guys come out and see us. The number's 252-228-5098. I wanted to, my number one storyline going into training camp and really this year, and I'll give you guys an opportunity to chime in with a storyline so we don't have to do three in a row. Can Frank make things right in Carolina? That's my headline right there. Can Frank make things right in Carolina? The Carolina Panthers, man, we've talked about the disrespect that this team has gotten from the media, how poorly that they're ranked offensively, all of this. And despite, look, our quarterback goes to getting tutoring while another is going to white parties. The disrespect is everywhere. But the Carolina Panthers have stunk for the last 5 years. They have never had back-to-back winning seasons in their team history. And wow, we've had some exciting years under Cam. We've had 2 Super Bowl appearances. We've had some really 3 we had 3 NFC South championships despite winning 1 at 7-8-1. We really haven't been just a juggernaut.
Right.
And can Frank Reich and his staff make that the thing for us going forward? This new quarterback, I really am just hoping, man, that this Frank Reich coaching staff is it and not us just coming off the full era.
I think it is, man. And I think it's going to be because of Bryce. I think the recipe for success for the Panthers this year is an offense that can put up points with anyone, that has a field general under center, that runs the playbook like a magician, that allows your defense to be fast and aggressive. Now, I have some questions about our defense. I think that we have some holes on this defensive front seven that I'm still kind of a little bit worried about. However, I think that if we adhere to that mindset of playing fast and aggressive on offense and then putting our defense in positions to pin their ears back and rush the passer, I think that is a recipe for success for the Panthers. And I do think that Frank Reich is going to be a major part of that with what him and Bryce are going to be able to do with this offense.
I mean, hey, we need it to work. It would be great. You know, I feel like this is that we're just been so stoked about Frank Reich, right? Because we've just been in this clown show of a thing under Matt Rule. And then, but there was a scenario. Look, Frank Reich was fired from his job in Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. It's not a story of only success.
I mean, it's honestly mostly not having success in the NFL as a coach. And that was one of the red flags when we were trying to debate on who we thought the next quarterback should be. You know, I was doing the research on Frank Reich, and and the history books didn't look like it was a successful coaching career. For the most part, he had been fired from everywhere he had been outside of Philadelphia, which he had that magical season with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles, and then he went to Indianapolis and he had Andrew Luck take them a lot farther than a new coach would normally be able to go. But at the same time, I think that he has the ability to learn his lessons. He has the ability to grow. And I think what we're seeing now with the Avengers style coaching staff that we have put together right now, the biggest question is, how do all of those pieces fit together? How does Thomas Brown fit into this scheme? Where does the butting of heads start to come in between Thomas Brown wanting to call plays and Frank Reich wanting to call plays? When does he turn over the reins to do that? And then we also know Thomas Brown is a run heavy type of a player. I mean, type of a person. He's a running back in high school or in NFL. So, or in college at least. I don't know if he went to the NFL, but like he was a running back. So we know he's going to have a run heavy scheme if he were to be the offensive coordinator. And how is that going to mesh well with the fact that we have a wide receiver core that has the potential to be extremely explosive if they are utilized correctly? It just seems like there's a potential for things to be perfect, but also with that same potential, it's potentially a disaster at the same time.
Yeah. I think that if I'm looking at anything for a headline for this season, I'm writing up this whole story. It's tapping into the coaching staff again as like a comic book story type ending where Frank Reich comes back to save the day. Just looking at the point of him being the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers in the first game against Atlanta, and now he's the coach of the Panthers in the first game against Atlanta, and it's a superhero story ending, So I'm looking for something of that style. I mean, I don't know what this coaching staff is going to bring, but I guarantee whatever they do, it's going to be better than anything we had with the Frank Reich coaches. Or excuse me, I'm sorry, the Matt Rule coaches. And we have added a lot of experience. How many Super Bowl rings? Like 11 Super Bowl rings?
Yeah.
On the coaching staff now?
11.
That's a complete 180 from where we were at. And I don't know everybody on the staff. I'm not trying to knock everybody, but I'm just much more confident in the coaching staff going forward with this team.
I have one headline. Mine is, who's number one? And what I mean is, who is going to prove themselves and show themselves to be the number one wide receiver in this offense? I think it's between three people. Terrace Marshall Jr., that's right now, he's the leader in my wheelhouse, is who I'd predict. But Jonathan Mingo, I mean, he might have a breakout rookie season for the Panthers. And another one that I think that we've been kind of sleeping on is DJ Chark. Remember, DJ's on a 1-year deal. Okay. And he runs a 4.3, 6'3". Like, the dude can go and get a ball deep downfield. And I'm wondering, with it being a prove it year for him, if maybe DJ Chark is a name that we're kind of sleeping on a little bit too much. But yeah, for me, it's who is number one? Who's going to rise to the top?
I thought you were going to say, who is number one? Adam Thielen, Jonathan Mingo, or DeAndre Hopkins.
that was gonna. I thought that was gonna be his headline. Is how long into training camp does DeAndre Hopkins sign with the Panthers? I'll tell you he
is at Clemson right now. Just saying.
I am gonna say this. My headline is not a flashy one, but I think it's warranted for a training camp headline, and that is, do new NFL rules save Matt Rule's position on the Carolina Panthers? Or Matt Corral's.
Oh, God. You really bumbled that one.
Sorry, my apologies. Somebody said Matt Rule in the chat, and it got me a little
say it one more time.
So, will the new NFL rules save Matt Corral's position on the Carolina Panthers?
Oh, I mean, I think it's a yes, right? Like, the fact that you get to have another quarterback, and you know that they would keep Andy Dalton over Corral because
they still take up one of the 53 slots. The only thing that you do is you were allowed to have them active and not take up one of those 5. Basically, they can have more people active that day because one of them is going to be a quarterback.
Yeah, it's just an emergency quarterback too. Like they
Right.
don't get to even. It's kind of a super situation. I still am of the belief that Matt Corral's not going to be a Carolina Panther.
No.
Do you think that, and that's where another part of this headline is, does that save his position, or do they try to get draft capital out of Matt Corral?
I think it's the only thing that can save his position, CK, is that the idea of there being some like roster flexibility,
right?
That might be enticing from it.
Right.
But here is the thing is that one is Andy Dalton didn't think he was done playing football, at least from what we just saw in that one of those, the second episode of the Panthers, what's it, the Blueprint or whatever, the second one. You know, he wasn't ready to just take on a secondary role.
Right.
That wasn't his first instinct, was like, yeah, I just want to be a backup quarterback. Like he thinks he's got some football in him. And I mean, that's respectable too, is that if you are a quarterback, you need to have an alpha gene in you. Right. It's like, if you are, then you're always a backup quarterback if you don't have that. But I think that they think that they paid Dalton enough money. They think he's qualified and capable enough, particularly now, to lead them through 3 games or 3 plays or 3 months if they had to, for some god-awful reason Bryce Young couldn't play. I think here's a difficult scenario for me to envision, where the Panthers would have an opportunity to play Andy Dalton or Matt Corral.
Right.
And then they would play Matt Corral over Andy Dalton ever. Like they would all have to go down. So I think at this point, this is like, hey, we're going to give you an opportunity to come in here and get better in this training camp and to put on your best tape in the preseason and hope you land somewhere. And maybe we even profit out of it. I just can't. Well, how can he really fit?
Well, do you think
the Carolina Panthers?
Do you think you get more than a 3rd round pick for him? I don't even think you get that.
If you get anything for him, it's just better than cutting him.
I agree with that, but I mean, as far as trading him, who's going to want, if you know you're going to cut him, who's going to trade even a 6th or 7th round pick?
I think that he still has value. Like, I mean, there's no reason that he hasn't shown anything that is like, this guy is a bust. He had
but he hasn't shown anything showing he's good.
Sure, but at the same time, if we drafted him in the 3rd round and somebody offers a 5th and we take that, send him somewhere else, I mean, we're still getting some capital back.
That's true.
Right?
He could fit well with somebody like Minnesota.
And here's the thing,
right? Well, with someone maybe like New England.
Well, I mean, that's the thing.
Maybe, or even
he's not going anywhere to be the starter, obviously. Right. He's going somewhere to be the backup. And right now, the thing is, if you get a 5th for him, we just sign up. If you really want to go into the end of the year with a 3rd quarterback, then you could just sign somebody. The fact, if we get down to our 3rd quarterback, we're not in a good position regardless. Like, it's not good, no matter who's at the helm, right? And so why not get some capital for it? Let Matt Corral have an opportunity to actually be a real backup, which he's not going to have here with Andy Dalton at the helm. He's not going to have that with Bryce Young unless one of those guys go down, which nobody wants to hope for. Then you can't really put him in that position. Now, do you cut him before training camp or in the like early on? No, you wait until the end and then you see who's maybe got a hurt quarterback. And then you still start to try to pressure them. Hey, you want Matt Corral? He could do something there. Or, God forbid, something happened to Andy Dalton or Bryce Young in training camp. You need to keep Matt Corral at that point in time.
And I think that how quickly we forget that the Panthers notoriously have such a bad field. Like, to me, I don't think you have the luxury. Whatever. I mean, you don't have the luxury of not having a 3rd quarterback. When we know that it's happened to teams before, and we know that we have a bad field. By the way, I think that Matt Corral, for no matter what they think of Andy Dalton, I still would prefer to go with the younger gun than the 32, 33-year-old. I think he's
No, not as the
I think
backup.
he's far more capable
Based on
of
what?
running in an
He just
RPO
wants to take
offense.
this.
Based
No,
on what?
Andy Dalton is a fucking statue. The dude couldn't move if a
Hold on.
Gale
If
Force
Matt
wind
Corral
tried to
has
blow him
half
off
the
his
career
spot.
Andy Dalton does, he'll be lucky.
How do you know unless you play him?
A third of it.
How do we
Yeah.
know unless you
That's
play
the
him?
point. He's
saying
never
is
going to
if that-
play,
if that
Cody.
good-
That's our
It
point.
If he's
doesn't-
that,
it
if he's
doesn't
that
make any
good,
sense just to
if he has
cut him.
half the career Andy Dalton does, he's lucky. And
He's
I
never
guarantee
going to
you,
play,
he won't even have
Cody,
that
and he's
career.
never going to play in Carolina meaningful snaps beyond the preseason ever. He's not
Not
going
one
to run
second.
You
in
don't
there.
know that. You don't know that. You have no idea what you're talking about.
I
You don't have
know
a crystal
exactly
ball
what
into
I'm
the
talking
future.
about.
Party?
What
Bro, Andy
scenario
Dalton is
could
32 years
happen?
old.
The scenario, what you're trying to tell me is this: is the only way this possibly could happen is devastating injuries to Bryce Young, Andy
Not Bryce.
Dalton.
Not Bryce. No, Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is a 33-year-old quarterback.
When's he gonna get hurt?
Right.
You don't know
Being
when
a
he's gonna get
backup,
hurt.
just
But if
back
Bryce
it
is
my
not hurt,
point.
then he's not going
That's
to
my
be playing.
point. Why would you send away a quarterback when your backup
because he's never
behind your
gonna do
5'10" quarterback
anything.
is you don't know that. You're just talking. You have no crystal ball into the future.
But
I
you
would
don't
prefer the
either.
younger, more physically tatalented players.
But here's
I'm
the
not saying
difference.
it's bad. I'm saying there's no reason to get rid of them unless they're willing to trade you. I think more than a 5th round pick for him.
I think here's my issue is that the backup position should not be filled by somebody else who has the same amount of experience as our rookie quarterback, right? I feel like anytime you see a backup come in and actually win games for their team, for the most part, outside of a Bryce or outside of a Brock Purdy type of a situation, but for the most part, it's somebody who's an experienced backup, and that is, Andy Dalton, Nick Foles. I mean, you can go down a list of people, right? And so,
especially if you're not going to want them to take over in a year or two either.
right?
Is that if Andy Dalton comes in and say it's for a month, say Bryce Young does something to a finger and they're like, all right, we're going to get this surgically repaired and it's going to be ready, you'll be back in a month. You're going to want Andy Dalton to lead the team in those moments. CK is right on this one. And I think, CK, to the inverse of your point, is that's why the teams that Matt Corral makes sense on are teams that have maybe older veteran quarterbacks who they don't have a lot of future commitment to.
That they can learn under Matt Corral can learn under that quarterback. I agree. I think
and
that
if
Matt
they
Corral,
go down, he can step into a team that they don't expect to be good probably at that moment and maybe show some promise to where they might be able to be like, you know what, we'll keep you around and see what happens. Instead of having this is, what are you going to do? Matt Corral going to go in there, struggle for 3 or 4 weeks, and then you go, oh, well, Bryce, come on back. And then next year we're going to cut you anyway.
No, you're talking a whole different scenario. I'm saying we all know Bryce is number 1, and I'm saying Andy Dalton, for as good as he has been, is an older quarterback that cannot move worth the damn. So I think
If
the
he
type of
doesn't,
offense that
what
we're
does that
in,
got to do with it, though, Cody? He's not going to play.
because
Under
the
the
San
ideal
Francisco 49ers
circumstances, he
played
doesn't
3
need to
quarterbacks
move.
last
He just
year.
needs to move from
San
his
Fran played
ear
3
to the
quarterbacks last
walkie-talkie.
year.
Speaking of San Fran, can I ask a question? Right now, Sam Darnold's in San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
Did we trade him to go there?
No.
Okay, we didn't trade him. Well, just out of curiosity, like with Shanahan being the quarterback guru that he is, if he sees Matt Corral here, why would he not try to go for him? You can get him for a 5th round pick, a 6th round pick.
The 49ers are the best place for any quarterback.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
but,
would you rather take Matt Corral or
the
Sam
question
Darnold?
now is if anybody would actually trade for him.
right?
Yeah.
Well,
Now, you know what I mean? I
that's
think
why.
so. Cody, CK's headline was can this roster adjustment save his time in Carolina, this rule change? And that might be the only thing too, because unless he balls out in the preseason, which that's what you really hope for, is him to ball out in the preseason and be like, oh God, Matt Corral is fantastic.
I mean,
But
and
if
you
he
trade him
does
for a
that,
5th.
but if he does that, then it's like
You trade him for
I
a
don't
5th.
know.
You trade him
A
for a
5th.
third at that point in time. If he's
Yeah.
balling out, you trade him for a third. If you trade him at all, it depends upon how Andy Dalton looks. That part I would say is like we still have a lot to be said. But I'm going to say this: like I really thought that this was going to be a boring headline, and it's gotten like more conversation than I
Yeah.
realized.
Everybody,
Yes. And by the way, shout out to iTrap Sports because he gets what I'm saying. I'm not saying basically if Bryce can't go for whatever reason, and Andy either doesn't look good or he gets hurt being an older player, I would rather have knowing that we have a young, physically gifted quarterback still on the roster, still able to go. And Tony, you can dismiss it all you want, but we have a bad field. And I mean, all three of our quarterbacks last year got injured. Baker Mayfield got hurt. Sam Darnold got hurt. PJ Walker got hurt.
Was that the field's
So
fault?
why would you not have?
Macro.
Why would you not have? And that's the whole point to CK's question. Why would you not use that third quarterback suited up rule? Why would you not use that to your advantage in case of a scenario like that?
The only issue is, and I could be wrong, but that third quarterback still takes up a roster spot on the 53-man roster,
I think you're
right?
right. I think they don't take up a spot.
They don't take up
on
the active roster that day.
Because you can't, for some dumb reason, dress 53 people. I hate these rules of the NFL. Why are they so strict on how many people? Why can't they expand the roster to 60? And who cares? Who cares if you get? Then you could keep Matt Corral or whatever indefinitely and see what you can get. But like you're really sacrificing on a day you need a punt returner, and your punt returner's nicked up.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we don't want it there? So they're saying they don't count to that. What is it? 50? Is it 51 CK that is active in the day? 50?
No, I think you have to have 5 inactive. So I think 48 are active and 5 inactive. And I think now you can have 49 technically active as long as one of those 49 are a third quarterback.
I think, Cody, the point that you're missing from me is not about whether the field is good or not or this or that. We had 3 quarterbacks hurt. I don't want to hear it. I think we had 3 quarterbacks hurt because our quarterbacks sucked. They're always hurt. What I'm saying is that if we have to talk about Matt Corral beyond your wet dreams, that is a fucking nightmare scenario of what I think the Carolina Panthers would be going through. So that's my
Unless he becomes a superstar, whatever.
Maybe we'll see. And that's the situation with anybody there, right? Brock Purdy, big-footed quarterback
15.
prospect
does Savant. That's gonna be what's the name of that fucking podcast gonna be? All right, what else
wins a shootout. Matt wins a shootout.
I got a headline.
Okay,
all right. What is your headline going into training camp?
Mine
or for the season in a way.
Okay, mine is filling the shoes. We've relied on Christian McCaffrey, who's been one of the best draft picks we've had for a while, on a lot of our offense, and I think in a way it kind of hindered us. And this year we're filling the shoes of Christian McCaffrey. I know he left midway through the season last year, but we picked up Miles Sanders, who, say what you want to say about Miles Sanders, he was one of the league's leading rushers last year in both touchdowns and yards on a Super Bowl team. I mean, there's a lot to be said about that. I think a lot of people are worried about what Miles Sanders is going to do. Tony, I know you love Chuba Hubbard. This is his opportunity to really step up and try to do something here. So are we going to have a 1-2 combo? Is Chuba going to, I don't know what's going to happen here, but I'm wanting to do a headline going into filling Christian McCaffrey's shoes. And what is Carolina going to do with this backfield? Because as long as I've been a Panthers fan, we've always had a pretty decent, stout running game. Like there's been a few years here and there, but Carolina's always been good at linebackers, good at the running game. It's 2 things. That's the pounding positions. So I want to see what Carolina's going to do with the running backs this year. And I want to see if Chuba Hubbard is going to live up to what Tony claims this guy is.
He's a bum. You're not going to see. Guess who?
God,
I almost feel like this is you're going to see as much Matt Corral as who you're going to see more Chuba Hubbard or Matt Corral. Look, Miles Sanders. This is a great question. Is how. Look, as we've talked, so many people have talked about hey, man, Carolina's going to do things right with this quarterback. They build an offensive line. they're going to run. But before we were hearing they're going to run the ball a lot. Don't expect him to put up 5,000 yards because it's going to be a run-heavy offense. Well, they invested a lot in Miles Sanders.
Mhm.
And I am high on Miles Sanders, dude. I think this is going to be the Miles Sanders show in the backfield. I don't think it's going to be a lot of getting Chuba in. Chuba's a bum of the past. It's a bum of the past, dude.
Are you
He's
turning on
out.
Chuba? When
Miles
did this happen?
Sanders.
Hold on, what's going
No.
on?
I'm the Chuba fan. He's always
it's not
been the
a
hater.
I thought my bad. Oh,
I thought he was
No,
being
that's me.
sarcastic.
No,
I hate
I'm
Chuba.
really confused.
I thought he was
Cody was
just-
the Chuba
No,
guy.
Chuba
well,
is
Cody,
not
I'm
as
interested to hear this
bad
from you then.
as Tony makes him
He's
out
awful,
to be.
dude. He stinks.
No, he's
He's
not.
my
No,
least
he's not.
favorite running
No.
back in
No.
Panther in a long
Yeah,
time.
this is coming from the guy that liked the Cameron Artist Payne, who
did
sucked
way
a
more than
bag of dicks.
Chuba Hubbard ever did.
Oh, give me a break.
Remember,
He sucked
check
a
that
bag
out.
of-
Go check the numbers,
Nah,
bro.
I don't need to
Check
see
the
those
numbers.
stupid numbers.
Check the numbers.
Listen,
Cameron
let me
Artist
tell you what
Payne.
it actually
Oh, I
is.
promise.
No,
Here,
Let
no.
me-
So I've
no.
been drafting I drafted Miles Sanders early in fantasy football comparatively to a lot of where he's ranked and what people think. I have been talking with a friend of mine who's a Bucks fan, who's also a fantasy football savant, though. And he doesn't agree with me about Miles Sanders. He's not super high on him. We have a bet. And my bet is that he will repeat his production from last year. He'll get over 1,000 yards. He's going to be high in touchdowns. I think he's going to get a ton of work for the Carolina Panthers. One of the things in fantasy football it's difficult to find is a bell cow running back. In fact, I saw the running back for the New England Patriots being widely acclaimed in a lot of fantasy football little blurbs in the mock drafts and things like that. And it was mainly based on this, is that they just go to him a lot. And I don't think there's any reason we go to anybody but Miles Sanders in the backfield. I think Laviska Shenault offers more promise than Chuba Hubbard.
Well, that's what I was about to bring up. I think the brain buster move is doing like what the Falcons did with Cordell Patterson. Put Laviska at running back. Instead of having a bell cow running back, which I do agree, Tony. I think Miles Sanders is going to be a safety blanket for Bryce this year. But I don't think that we need to have one running back that we're constantly feeding over and over and over again. If you want to have a legit 1-2 punch, bro, I say convert Laviska to running back. That way it opens up one more spot in your receiver room. Bro, let Laviska pound the A and B gap and let Miles be the outside runner. I think that would be a great to me, that's an alpha brain type move. That's like omega level type move. I think that's what we need to do. I don't think they will do it, but that's what I would like them to do. And I do think that Chuba Hubbard is a lot better than Tony gives him credit for.
Just comparing the stats real quick. Chuba Hubbard, 1,078 yards on 267 attempts, 4 yards an average. Cameron is paying 4.2 average, but Chuba has more touchdowns and a lot more receptions.
Hey, what's up?
Chuba Hubbard has 7 rushing touchdowns for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, but you
Really?
forget them because you have this hatred against them.
Five in 2021, 2 last year.
Hold on.
Well, first of all, Chuba
mind.
Hubbard had 267 rushing attempts versus Cameron Artist Payne's 100.
4 to 4.2 per.
How about
so
this? Listen to this when you put it in that perspective. Is that on 267 rushing attempts?
Oh, I see where you're going with this. Go ahead.
Chuba Hubbard had 7 touchdowns and 1,000 yards on 118 carries. Cameron Artist Payne had 491 yards and 5 rushing touchdowns.
So he was paced for,
he's on pace to be like 3 times as good as Chuba Hubbard.
Right. Well, and that's the thing with Chuba Hubbard. We got to keep in mind he got a lot of his touches after Christian McCaffrey got hurt, and so his numbers are going to be slightly inflated because he was all of a sudden the sole runner on this team.
That's a good point,
right? And to be fair, Tony, when you extrapolate it out, he's going to be about the same with yardage and slightly more touchdowns. It's not going to be that big of a difference.
Oh, it's like 10 times. No.
I mean, it's
But by the way,
4.2 average to 4 average. It's
Even
not
when
that
the
big of a
Panthers
difference.
had Deontay Foreman on the team, they were still going with the 1-2 punch between him and Chuba.
Right.
And by the way, refresh my memory. Did Cameron
Somebody
Artis
brought this-
Payne ever go for over 100 yards in a game? Because I know that Chuba did. He did it last season.
I don't think Cameron Artis-Payne only started 3 games.
He could
dude.
never get a hat. Yeah, like he was never on the field.
I know. I mean, it's
He
like
was never that good.
man, he
Well,
was
maybe.
in Ron Rivera's
Maybe.
doghouse, dude. That's what it was. It wasn't a matter of how about this? Is Chuba Hubbard has gotten a lot more opportunity with a lot more mistake than a lot of other players I've seen in this.
I don't really
league.
know if I'd say a lot more mistakes.
He was dropping the ball and fumbling the ball everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm like I said, I'm not defending that aspect of it, but I don't know that you could say that he's done more wrong than many other people who've gotten more chance. I just don't know that we've seen Chuba Hubbard be a superstar, and
Right.
that's the
No,
the
we
question.
haven't. I know that.
He has 3
And-
career fumbles.
And I
Chuba?
know.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I know that this isn't an easy thing because, like, do you want a superstar at running back? Because then you have to pay him as a superstar at running back. But I just don't know that he is a difference maker on any team. He's a decent backup, and I have no problem with him being a backup. But I don't believe that he is the take over a game running back that is going to put the game away when it's just put in his hands.
Have you heard his name once? This
This
offseason?
offseason? No, I haven't.
Me either.
Oh, I guess that means something real
I
big.
think so. I think it means this
No,
is I
it
think that
doesn't.
we've been talking about Terrace Marshall Jr. all offseason.
What have you heard about Miles Sanders? You haven't had an
Well, yeah,
opportunity
number
to see
one, he
anything.
signed a 3-year sort of
Right, but
solid
training
deal.
camp hadn't started. You wouldn't
He
hear
was
anything about it.
featured in the
Young.
show that we saw, Undisputed.
Mhm.
You've seen this on top of that, you saw his production last year, 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns, or whatever it was.
Mhm.
He's
So, I
the
mean,
only
it's-
big
what
name
I'm just
back
saying is
off the
this
board.
is
Yes.
we're getting hype on names, on some names. I'm just saying I haven't heard Chuba's name at all. Like, oh, look, there's Chuba catching passes with Bryce Young. Oh, there Chuba is out run. I just haven't heard it. That's it.
You think there's no competition? Miles is or Sanders
Miles
is the guy.
guy.
Oh,
yeah,
so
yeah.
now you
Okay.
think they should be practicing together, huh? Interesting.
What I'm saying is I
Interesting.
didn't
Well, they
hear
are
his
practicing
name in
together.
that video. What if he's at the white party for all we know?
Could you
I
imagine?
can tell you he's not at the
Chuba
white
Hubbard
party. He's
there.
at like the green party or the blue party, the one that where it's like the C-list celebrities show up, the D-list, the Chuba celebrities.
I agree with Matt MJF. I mean, nobody's saying that he's a world beater, but he is what he is. He's a good backup running back.
Okay.
And
Is he gonna be
if you're
I'm okay
not
with that,
throwing
yeah.
if you're not throwing him the football, which by the way, it wouldn't surprise me if Bryce makes him look better being a receiver. But if you're just gonna run the football, you could do a lot worse than Chuba Hubbard.
Right.
Okay. Chuba Hubbard is the number 2. I just don't think he's going to get as much action as he got with the Matt Rule era here.
Wait, but let me ask
Even
y'all,
with
what
CMC?
do y'all think about my idea of putting LaVishka at running back?
I think
Or
that's
is
a
this
smart
Your
move.
idea. I've been saying this for months.
I
I
think
don't-
it's a good idea to try it.
I don't
But
think
if
you
it's
put him
not
at
working,
running back
recognize it early.
permanently. I don't think that's
Yeah.
like I think it should be a as Reich has alluded to. I think it should be a Debo style of back and forth between running back and wide receiver.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
All right. What's next on the docket for the show, Cody? Oh,
Yeah,
here's
so-
another controversial one.
Yeah, this is something that NFL rumors put out. Now, instantly, a lot of people discredit NFL rumors because they've been wrong a lot before. But hey, this is a name that we've mentioned a lot. Panthers are rumored to be the top team to sign Jadeveon Clowney. Man, that would be a whole lot of Gamecocks on these Carolina Panthers. But I don't know, man. It's like, what would y'all feel better with? An aging Jadeveon Clowney, but someone who was a former number 1 overall pick, somebody who, is a big, strong, proven player, but has had some injury history. Would you rather him, or would you rather roll with a lot of, Well, frankly, a lot of unknowns opposite of Brian Burns. You have YGM, Marquise Haynes. You draft DJ Johnson in the fourth round, 6'5", 260 pounds. What does this do for y'all?
Things could get ugly with our defense as it is right now. You know, I mean, we've been wearing the rose-colored glasses off season when it comes to this coaching staff, what Bryce Young in this offense can be, and us just hoping that Giro Evero can make chicken salad out of chicken shit in a certain way. But right now, there's so many question marks with our corners. You got Brian Burns, who is who's a star, who wants to be a superstar, is going to get paid like a superstar, it looks like. But, man, we don't really got much on that defensive front. You need everything to work. You need Marquise Haynes to, like, all of a sudden be like, oh, shit, man, he makes Mario Addison look old, just average or whatever. Imagine what it would take from those guys, or else it could just be nasty. It could be, like, ugly. It could be like, oh, man, this team got 20 sacks this year.
I'm not against I've been critical of the idea of signing Jadeveon Clowney while there were other people out there, right? The thing is that market is drying up with as closer and closer we draw to training camp. So I mean, I don't hate the idea of putting him in this defensive line and having, because I mean, when you're in this new defense, I feel like there's going to be a pretty big need for rotation, and so it's not saying Clowney is going to be in there every single play, but it's going to say he's going to be an impact player and in spurts, and it's going to allow some of these other guys to potentially blossom as well. I don't hate the idea. People have got to realize, when's the last time that he has signed more than a 1-year deal?
Right. I think you're right, CK, too. And on the other hand is like you're going to be rotating him, and maybe that's good for Clowney in a sense. Is like we would all probably be disappointed with Clowney's production if you said, hey, come in here and play every damn snap. You know, is like you need to be like we need to be kind of like realistic with what our goals would be with the player.
Sure.
And right now, I think it's almost sort of unrealistic for us to be really good as a defense with the squad we got. And I'm not saying that it can't be done. And I'm not saying I don't think, like, I think, hey, man, YGM might be able to play well this year. I think that Marquise Hayes, but boy, a lot of things are going to have to go right.
Yeah.
A lot of things are going to have to go right. And they're already going wrong. And with injury, with whatever it may be, you're going to need somebody to slap. I just feel like it would be more realistic. The odds would be more in our favor for the defense to be all right.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. And you know, one of the things that White Chocolate will talk about is that he is a run stuffer. And I think that's going to be the biggest question mark on this defense, is how we do against the run. Because if we have our cornerbacks healthy, I think we have the ability to get coverage sacks, right? The pass rush isn't going to be as much of a concern for me. It's going to be when we go up against those hammer type running games that just pound the rock and just make it similar to that Steelers game. They destroyed us on the ground. It was embarrassing. And so Jadeveon Clowney could take this defense to another level in that regard. I don't think he's out here changing us from a 6-win team to a 10-win team or anything like that. But I think he does contribute, and we do need the depth. It's just no doubt about that.
Yeah, and it's kind of like and this goes to what Cody said so much, is that he really has high expectations. And maybe some ways I've called them rose-colored glasses, like the idea that Bryce Young is going to be the best rookie ever, that all of a sudden we're going to need to win 10 games. But like, it's kind of like this, is like there's kind of 3 levels of how this could go. It could go way better than we expected, or better than expected. We could be overwhelmed by the Panthers this year. We could be underwhelmed by the Panthers this year. And we could be whelmed by the Panthers this year. And I think it's going to be hard for us to be overwhelming as a team with just okay defense, or just a barely good defense. I think the defense is it's not going to have to be great I think it's just going to have to be respectable. And like that requires a team that has some sort of pass rush.
Right.
Some sort of pass rush. And I just don't know. I mean, I just think the odds would be better, Cody, with Jadeveon Clowney on the team. Even if he didn't, if and then Marquise Haynes goes and gets 12 sacks. It'll be like, oh, good. Look at Jadeveon and your 1-year deal.
I doubt it. Yeah,
Well,
I mean, the fact that YGM inspires no hope, Marquise Haynes inspires no hope. Like, at least you know, like what Kev said 2 years ago, he had 9 sacks in the season. I mean, if you could get anywhere near that level of play at him and Brian Burns and Derek Brown, that might not be a bad deal.
Can I shed a little light on this right here where you're talking about, yeah, he had 9 sacks in a season, but let's look at this realistically, okay? 2020 started 8 games, 0 sacks, 14 solo tackles. 2021 started 14 games, 9 sacks, 37 tackles. 2022 started 10 games, played 12, 2 sacks, 28 tackles. So, yeah, he had a 9-sack season, but that's what I wanted to raise my hand and ask.
What was going on? That's how it should be our question. What was going on in Cleveland?
What do we expect from him? Like, seriously, what do we expect from him if we sign him? Because let's compare his numbers to Gross Matos. Let me pull it up here. Well, let's see. Last year he had YGM had
1 sack,
54 combo tackles and 2.5 sacks. He had more tackles and more sacks than Jadeveon.
How many games did he start?
Maybe we're too hard on YGM, folks. Maybe YGM isn't the.
Nah, if you're allowed to hate on Chuba, I'm allowed to hate on YGM.
Oh,
but he had
I
a better
would say
season than
this
Clowney
is that
year.
you think that the hate for Chuba is less warranted than it
YGM is in his 3rd year and he still hasn't done shit. Like, there's no reason to believe.
I think him and Chuba were drafted the same year.
Yeah, Chuba really had done shit.
What has Chuba done?
He has done more than YGM.
I mean, he's had a 1,000-yard season. I mean, to be fair,
1,000-yard season.
Had 1,000. No, Chuba had 1,000-yard
game.
I think he
had a 100-yard game, but don't worry, he reeled off like 60 of them or 39 of them in one play, and it was when we ran like 400 yards. I mean, we could have got out there and run a 100-yard game.
Well, look, YGM's had more sacks than Chuba Hubbard has touchdowns, and he's had I don't know how you compare tackles to yards. I guess, but 100 tackles, I'd say close to 1,000 yards.
Career sacks
8.5 for YGM, 8.5 for YGM, and only 7 touchdowns for Chuba Hubbard.
I understand you not liking YGM, but I think you're liking Chuba too much. Is my point. Maybe though that to give up on YGM entirely is a hater move, but to go into the season expecting
but to give up on Chuba isn't.
Well, I'll tell you something though. You know YGM?
Yeah, because you said
Chuba
running backs are a dime a dozen, man. I can find a bunch of guys that can do what that
YGM hasn't done anything.
Do you know who YGM and Chuba
sacks
Hubbard?
over 2 years? I mean, over what, 3 years? That ain't shit.
Chuba's given us 7 touchdowns over 3 years. That ain't shit either. You know those.
That's not that bad. I was actually surprised by the two.
I'll tell you something.
That's more production than YGM.
Chuba Hubbard and YGM have both still put up better stats than Matt Corral.
Oh God!
Yeah, what is Matt Corral done?
Let's do some
Matt Corral in the NFL.
So. All right, let's jump into the cat calls. The number's 252-228-5098. Give us your headlines heading into training camp. Who should we be more upset with, Chuba Hubbard or YGM? And should we go out and get Jadeveon Clowney? Does he make this Panthers defense better? 252-228-5098. Let's rock.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use
one? Come on, play. Play. I hooked it up.
Hey guys, Kyle from VA calling. It's been a long ass time since I called in, but I've been listening. I don't really have a direction I want to go with this call, but I just want to say, like, I'm fucking hyped for this season. I really think that with the squad we have and Bryce, I really think Bryce can do some shit in the NFL in year one. I really do.
Yeah.
I think we can make some noise. I'm not saying we're going to win the Super Bowl this year, but I think we can definitely make some noise with the squad we got and this weak-ass division we're in. And another thing, Greg, I love Buddy, but come on. You gotta stop hating on Bryce, bro. Like, he'll prove it when he gets the chance to prove it. Until then, just leave all the doubt out. Stop doubting this man.
Leave the doubt out.
We have to play this
All
again.
right? He's done it his whole life. He's gonna do his shit. We're gonna be happy. Just stop doubting him. Be hyped. Be excited.
That's right.
You know, and get on board, bro. I love you, Greg. You're putting me in a down mood sometimes, man.
That's a wet blanket.
Guys, peace, I guess.
All right, man. Thanks,
Kyle. Peace.
Kyle and VA, thanks for calling in. Leave the doubt out when it comes to Bryce Young.
Can I say this, man? That a lot of people need to hear that message. Not just Greg. Everybody needs to jump on this train now. I'm telling you, the only reason you don't want to is because you have been jaded in the past by not having this team live up to your expectations, and you don't want to get hurt again. You're a spurned lover, Panther fans, and I hear you. But it is okay to be excited about Bryce and what he can do this year, and about how he'll be able to get the most out of the receivers around him. They're fast, yards after catch receivers, big time catch radius, speed. They have it all, man. And I think everybody needs to get on board, because every other team and every other media outlet is ready to disrespect the Panthers and our 5'10" quarterback. So if we're not out here defending him with everything that we have, how are we being good Panther fans, man? It's Bryce Young season, baby. Let's go.
Greg, you were the star.
Was that a G baby? Please tell me that was a G baby call.
No, you need to hear it
hold
one
on.
time.
We'll go halfway through. Let me see if I can skip it forward. So,
got the feeling G baby's calling for me tonight.
But come on, you gotta stop hating on Bryce, bro.
Because I say I want to see it.
Prove it. Until then, just leave all the doubt out. Stop doubting this man.
Gotcha.
He's gonna do his shit. All right, he's done it his whole life.
The doubt out, Greg, is the message of that call. I like it. But you're right. What we got is we're trying to balance between, someone said tempering their expectations in the chat, right? There's you don't want to over wish too much. You want to be hopeful and optimistic, but leave the doubt out, Greg. We'll doubt him when he screws up. Right now, we got to be all in on this night. Now we're we're committed at this point.
Yeah,
we are committed. Our future lies with Bryce Young for a minimum of 3 years.
Yeah. And let me be clear. And I feel like I say this every show. For some reason, people still come at me like, I'm not hating on Bryce Young.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. Just because I say I want to see him do it, before I say that he is the guy.
Wet. It's not hating. It's wet blanketing is what they're saying.
It's okay.
What is that, Cody? What do we call that when you gaslight? So if we get people will be like, "Oh, you're gaslighting somebody." Like we're gonna have to start wet blanketing someone.
Yeah,
you're Gregging someone.
Yeah, we're Gregging someone.
Make a bumper for Greg wet blanket.
Wet blanket.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? It's Corey calling in.
Corey.
I'm watching this past week's show, and the DeAndre Hopkins topic came up yet again. And I never really had too much of a feeling between, one side or the other. But I'll be honest, I'm not banging the table for DeAndre Hopkins, but I wouldn't be mad at it either. I don't think it's going to happen. Just to be honest, when you see the Panthers are creeping up or, still lurking around, I just think that means that David Tepper is doing his on every deal thing. But it's I don't know if I wouldn't agree with the stance that getting DeAndre Hopkins automatically limits Terrace Marshall or kills any potential growth that he has for the team. You gotta to be honest, guys, he still would get just as many reps as he would. Like Terrace Marshall is trying out for a wide receiver 1, kind of solidified wide receiver 2 role right now. All these other guys that we have, every receiver we have has a lot to prove. I'll be honest right now. Like we have one of the worst receiving crews in the NFL because they are so unproven. We have a lot of guys with talent, and that's why Panthers fans they get on their feelings when they hear people say that. But if you look come on, we have to be honest with ourselves. It's one of the most unproven wide receiving cores in the NFL. Adam Thielen, he's not going to be a number 1 or number 2 on this team. He's not going to demand the ball the way that I think his name dictates that a lot of people are thinking. I honestly believe Adam Thielen is going to be more of a possession, drop down in the zone when you need a kind of clutch catch, really a leadership kind of guy. He's not going to be getting 80, 90 targets to where Terrace Marshall or DJ Chark or even a Jonathan Mingo is not going to be able to prove what they can do. And that's just the thing, man. Like we have these receivers to where DJ Chark, he signed a 1-year deal. He's not, going to be a huge part of this future unless he balls out and we think it'll be somebody that we really need to keep moving forward. Like let's say he's okay, deals with another injury plagued year. Like we're either gonna try to keep him moving with Terrace Marshall, Jonathan Mingo, or go try to get a big fish, land a big wide receiver. Because that's my big thing is I don't necessarily we have enough cap space to where we can get a big name receiver for Bryce Young because he's still on his rookie deal. DeAndre Hopkins may not necessarily be the guy, but I don't think we shouldn't just pursue the idea as a whole. Obviously, it's also he's the main big fish left, but yeah, our wide receiver core has a lot left to be desired. We can't just bank on Terrace Marshall and say hey, we want him to get all these reps and all this.
Yeah, cut him off. Great point, Corey. I mean, that was my point last time we did this, is that the Panthers offense is not worse for adding a DeAndre Hopkins.
Right.
And you're taking pressure off of other younger guys that are going to have to they're going to have to win on their own this year. Whereas if DeAndre Hopkins was on the field, you're probably going to have to commit double coverage to him because NFL defenses respect him that much.
Yeah.
So I get it, man. I also don't think it's going to happen, but I get it.
Well, can I ask y'all, with DJ Chark being in a 1-year deal, he's had 1 year with 1,008 yards. Let's see how many touchdowns did he have the year? 8 touchdowns. And he had another year with 706 yards and 5 touchdowns. What is his number that he has to hit with yards and touchdowns for you guys to be like, okay, bring him back?
He's got to finish all 16 or 17 games.
Okay, that's a fair thing. So healthy, he's got to finish 17 games. What number? So in 17 games, what numbers does he have to hit for y'all?
I'm gonna say at least over 700 yards receiving.
Okay,
and at least 7 touchdowns.
Oh, 7's a lot.
Who's that?
Okay,
who are we talking about?
DJ Chark. He's on a 1-year deal. What do you need to see him do to be signed to a bigger deal with Carolina?
You know what? I just don't think it's going to happen.
That's not the question. That's not the question. Tony.
I think he would have to all of a sudden be really freaking good.
But so
what I mean by that is what is really freaking good is one is I think he would have to be available the whole season, right? You guys mentioned that.
Okay.
I think he would have to show that he's the dynamic big play threat that we say he is, right? Which I think that is he has to do that. If he didn't do that, that would be weird. I think he has to show that he is more than that too.
Okay. So,
and I think it's this is what I'm just trying to say. This is why I feel like he's the type of player, and sadly, and this is again, this sounds cold, particularly from a dude who doesn't play football, who's sitting behind a microphone in his house right now, is that I think he's got to show that has something that's not really replaceable. And just straight line speed, deep threat is replaceable in the NFL. Sad. I mean, I know they say you can't teach speed, you can't do this, you whatever, but there's a lot of guys we've seen in Carolina that can run fast down the field. You know, it's just like, can you do more? So I think I got to see DJ Shark be more than just. I think he's got to be Ted Ginn Jr. in 2015.
Okay, let me look up those stats.
And see, it's always about stat. I almost feel like, without the drops, is can he be more?
But you just
than
mean like you want to see him
Anderson?
go across the middle,
Okay,
on comeback routes. Like,
I don't know how to articulate exactly what it is, but you know what? Be more than be an every down player.
Right, but the reason why we bring up numbers and touchdowns is because at least it's a metric of production.
Okay.
Like you can account for what he was able to do in the offense. And considering you have Jonathan Mingo and Terrence Marshall Jr., Adam Thielen, Hayden Hurst, Miles Sanders, like if he ends up at 750 yards and between 7 and 8 touchdowns, like
do you think he'll have a 100-yard game this year?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he will too. Hey, Tony,
I'm
just so you
putting it
know,
on the Mingo card right now.
2015 Ted Ginn. It's funny, Cody, with your numbers. 2015 Ted Ginn, 44 receptions, 739 yards, 16.8 yard average, 10 touchdowns.
I mean,
that's impressive numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, 752 yards is not insane, but 10 touchdowns or 39 is not insane, but 10 touchdowns is pretty insane.
And he was wide receiver number 2 because let's be real, Greg Olsen was wide receiver
number 1 that year. Yeah.
That year, okay. Cody or CK, what do you think?
I mean, as I mentioned, I think making it through 17 games, like he can have a great production and miss 5 games, and at that point in time, it's like you gotta pull the plug. You can't continue to put. You certainly can't sign him to a long-term deal since he hasn't been able to really finish out an entire season. So other than that, I would say good number 2 wide receiver production, which would probably be, I think that 700 yards is a good one. 5 touchdowns. And that's because I think if he did that, he wouldn't be overly expensive either. Like you could probably sign him to a 2 or 3 year deal. And especially if he seems to be developing that connection with Bryce Young, I think that it's worth keeping his wide receiver core as intact as possible as he's trying to continue to grow as a player in this league.
Yeah, I see him as a kind of a Musin Muhammad type guy. If he can do that.
No. I think that's more the team.
Bingo.
Yeah, Marshall.
Well, and here's the
size.
thing. I think whoever
6'4".
of the two.
I didn't realize he's that tall. He's
dude, that's what I'm saying. All of our receivers are tall as hell and they're fast as hell, dude. They have high-end talent. They just have to prove it. And yes, they are definitely unproven as a wide receiver squad. But when you look at high-end ability, this is what I was arguing with Anthony about. Like he was saying that every NFL team has potential. Okay, maybe, but some has way more than others. And I would argue that this receiving core has way more potential than a lot of people are giving us credit for. Including
DeAndre Hopkins.
Huh?
It's just not enough to not get DeAndre Hopkins.
I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is like a cherry on top.
I'm trying to look up what Kev was saying about his PFF numbers.
Well, I just feel like with Chark, I think Chark is in a situation, to be honest, where he's in a competition with TMJ for the number 2 spot. To be truly honest with you, I think that whoever gets the best this year is going to do it. And I think that the numbers you gave right there, I'm more on CK's side. I'm more of the 755 touchdowns is a good number 2 wide receiver for me. I think 7 touchdowns is a really good year. 10's an insane year. Anything over that is a really, really good year for whoever you are. So
I just feel like that wide receiver room is getting very crowded already. And it's hard to say that somebody isn't going to be the odd man out. And even with like when you have Thielen, Chark, if in fact you end up getting DeAndre Hopkins, I could see it hindering the the actual growth of. And I know this is what the caller had said that he doesn't agree with. I think it could hinder the growth and the ability to actually see the playmaking options that TMJ offers.
It's true. Yeah.
How about it would
for that
be
matter.
awesome. Look, his Shark didn't get the money that he was hoping for. He took a 1-year prove it deal. He really, though, it's been a while since he's done much. Is last year he came out and he had he did some solid things in a very explosive offense in Detroit. But he missed everything in Jacksonville in 2020 in a year anybody. If you're going to miss a year in Jacksonville, it's the 2021 season, right?
Well, he only played 4 games. He only played 4 games that season.
Right,
too.
but if you go back, is you really want to repeat that 2019 season. It's like that's the
or even the 2020. 706 yards, 5 touchdowns. That's legit too.
Hey, let me ask y'all this: Who would you predict to have a better season? Touchdowns and receiving yards wise, DJ Chark or Hayden Hurst?
Ooh, I think Hayden Hurst is going to have a bigger role just because of the things we've already heard them talk about with this offense. So I think Hayden Hurst may have a bigger role.
It's kind of an unfair question because I think that Hayden Hurst is clearly, without a doubt, the number 1 tight end and the number 1 pass catching tight end. Whereas DJ Chark is not going to have that advantage of definitely being the number 1 guy. It's kind of hard to compare, but I think that Hayden Hurst will be a bigger part of the offense. I agree with CK than Chark. I don't know about the numbers because they play different positions and everything else, but I think he'll be a bigger part of the offense.
It's got to be Shark, right? Hayden Hurst hasn't done anything in his career except for 1 year in Atlanta where he got 6 touchdowns and 5. He was in a crazy good offense last year, and he only had 414 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Right, yeah, but they also had a bunch of other weapons that they had options to move the ball to.
Also keep in mind, this is the offense that Frank Reich ran that got Eric Ebron looking like he was a freaking master.
And he's got a red beard, dude. Come on, Tony. Everything is pointing up on this one. Don't be the wet blanket.
Okay. Matt, I hope so. It's like I think this is another. But this is what happens to me going into fantasy football every year.
Yeah, fantasy.
Is I start to look at the Panthers and I want to pick because I know these players and I want to pick them. And I've already committed to Miles Sanders on this. Is that Miles Sanders is going to get a lot of action. I think Hayden Hurst, like you guys are saying, is like really the odds are in Hayden Hurst's favor because he's going to be on the field. You feel like even more than DJ Chark.
I put a poll in the chat. Who's going to have a better season, Chark or Hurst?
But Hurst is going to have, again, I think this comes down to, for Hurst, is playing as well.
Agreed.
Is that really, he hasn't started hard. He hasn't started a whole season either. And availability is going to be some of these guys' best ability.
Can we say that when we evaluate a player and we're trying to talk about how they're going to affect the team or comparing them to anybody else, I think that health, being available is a given, right? Like that's going to be an automatic thing. It's got to be health.
For sure.
But here's the thing: is it's not even just like if they have a history of not being healthy. Like I think that's even more important than it would be for any other person.
That's a fair point. Yeah,
if DJ Chark has a history of being hurt, JC Horn has a history of being hurt. Hayden Hurst may have a history of being hurt. I haven't really did a deep dive into seeing what that really looks like. But if these guys have a history of being hurt, that has to go into the equation as to whether they sign another deal if they get hurt this year.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the people in the chat. I believe Dan Floyd may have sent me. I'm trying to figure. I haven't gone back and looked at my email since I got back from vacation or whatever. But he's talking about what's his name? Who was our running back? I already forgot his name.
Deontay Foreman.
Yeah, and what does he do? Where is he at? What's he going to be doing? And are we going to miss his role going forward? And we talked about like that committee of running backs and things like that, how that's going to work out. I'll be interested to see is like, look, Hayden Hurst looks like we've kind of signed him with the belief that he's going to be out there almost every damn play, it feels like.
Right.
And so we're going to want him to be very good. And I also want to give shout outs to people who aren't in the chat right now, who aren't able to call in, but listen on Spotify, TuneIn, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, wherever they get their podcasts. And there's people in Italy that listen. There's people across the pond that listen. There are people all throughout the United States that listen. And we appreciate all of y'all's support. And we're going to be heading to training camp in less than a month, where we're going to be hanging out with one of our listeners, Muscles Marinara at Monster Subs. And we're going to be talking about a lot of these things right here, because this is all what we're waiting with till we actually are waiting for to see what will happen. And man, you got to hope that this offense, I almost feel like the more we talk about it, the more I just like, it's going to be prolific. It's going to be prolific.
Yeah.
God, I'm going to end up drafting out all Carolina Panthers. By the way, we're in the middle of a draft.
I'll have the longest draft ever. I'm
Oh,
sitting
yeah.
here in this DM, and I hear I was like, Tony, you're on the clock. I'm like, oh, they're in the middle of a draft that any draft I've ever been a part of. It's like an hour or 2 hours long. These guys have been doing this for days.
It's cool.
Yeah,
it's a slow
It's
draft.
about a week long now.
It's
Yeah, we started
fine.
about a week
It's
ago.
fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Now
It
they
is.
put this time thing on it
Yeah,
while I
it's
was
4
in the
hours now.
car. Oh, while I'm driving in the car, I got a chance to look at all these trades.
It's like
all
a
of this, we're all
3.5
trying to-
hour time limit, by
I'm
the way.
glad you picked my trade, Tony. I really am, because that trade helped me out. I helped you out too, man. I gave you some good stuff.
You didn't give me
Yeah,
squat. You gave
Greg
me the
is in wheeling
future.
and dealing.
All you did was
I
give
gave
me
you
a
some good stuff,
third
man.
round pick next year. That's it. It was
Legit.
dumb.
What are you talking about? Third round pick, and there's only 4 rounds next year with rookies. That's a hot pick.
You're not going to keep everybody. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's go to the next call.
What's up, C3? It's JJ calling in this week. Didn't call in last week.
What up, JJ?
Doesn't really matter. I don't know. I kind of wanted to call in for this guy to shout out. I guess probably my new favorite player. Really, just because this, I feel like this is the one guy on the team that nobody can disagree with. Everybody loves. It isn't like Shaq Thompson where he didn't live up to expectations. People got mixed feelings about Brian Burns and Horn, and not everyone loves Bryce Young like the little darling he is. But every single Panthers fan loves Ike Ekwonu if he helps the offensive line. So I wanted to say I hope he ends up being like our team's Joe Thomas, or not. Oh my God. Yeah, Joe Thomas for the Browns.
You're right.
That's what I was hoping for whenever we drafted him with the 6th overall pick, a franchise left tackle. It's looking like we can get that, but hopefully he takes a jump in his second year. I also wanted to say on the whole DeAndre Hopkins situation, I think if we could get him on a DJ Moore-like contract that we had DJ on, go ahead and do that. But I wanted to say ice up to CK just because I really disagreed with his points he made last week, but it is what it is. I also think this season's really an indictment on the coaching staff. I know I said it a few weeks ago, and Tony said he doesn't feel like the season's really on anybody. It's not really on the coaches or the players because it's a lot of new things coming together. He responded like that, but I just really feel like there's a lot on Frank Wright's plate right now, and he's going to need to take care of it. All right. The more and more I watch Bryce Young, the more and more I worry about sometimes his size will affect him and him being able to see things and him always holding on to the ball. And there's always going to be a question mark whether he's doing too much or I don't know. We're always going to have our concerns about our players, but it's up to Frank Wright to be able to take care of those issues and really just tell me how much confidence y'all got in Frank Wright specifically and the rest of the coaching staff, because I've yet to. I don't know. I'm more of a see it to believe it when it comes to coaches. All right, that's it, C3. Keep pounding. Love the podcast.
Great call, JJ.
pounding.
Great call. Like that is first is hold on. It's like Javaris said in the chat, that sticky icky. Ooh, we put it in the air. Is that we haven't been talking about his name, and that's all what you want to hear about a left tackle is us not talking about him.
Right.
If we talking about them, bad things are happening. Now we get to talk about how great our offense is going to be because we ain't talking about how terrible our left tackle is, right?
I, for one, thought that was a horrible call. So,
the other thing I liked about with the Frank Reich is kind of, if we're whelmed by this team or underwhelmed, it's not going to take long for us to be like, oh God, is Frank Reich to do, he's got to, that's where the heat will go first for the smoke will go is to Frank Reich.
He will get the year.
I think no. Yeah, I don't think What I'm talking about is just the nature of the talk. I'm not saying being fired. I'm not saying anything like this. Is that I think we do have an expectation. I think right now, Cody, if we win 8 games, you're going to be whelmed or underwhelmed.
Yeah.
And if we win 8 games and you're underwhelmed, I don't think you're going to be underwhelmed because of Bryce Young. I don't think you're going to be underwhelmed because of the players on the team. I think you're going to say 1 year from now, and we're about to play a game 1 year ago, is that Frank Reich should have gotten more out of this team. I think there is some. I think JJ's bringing up a good point. There is some pressure on this coaching staff to perform, to be as good as we believe or we've made them out to be.
Remember when me and Greg used to fight all the time about, is it the coaches or is it the players not doing their job?
There you go. Same line. Here we go.
But to me, it goes down to how prepared they look. Like throughout the past 3 years with Matt Rule, there were times when it just looked like our entire team was out of sorts. Like they didn't know where they were supposed to be. Like they didn't know what they were supposed to do. And they were getting their ass kicked. And to me, when you don't know the basics of the X's and O's and what you're supposed to be doing, that reeks of an unprepared team. That says to me that you can put it on the coaches. However, you're saying to Tony that you don't think it would be the players that would make me underwhelmed. Well, I don't know, because I have questions about our defense that I would like to see answered before I say, yeah, we're gonna go out and be, ball busters. I mean, you and I have had this discussion before when they ranked us as a top NFL defense after 3 games.
Oh yeah,
and then everybody knew that we were not anywhere close to that.
Guys, we need the football season here. We need it here, man.
We do. And Cody, here's my thing is, like you said, I knew you were like, I was thinking the same thing you were as our debate. And that's what's such a difficult thing about this argument here is there's no solid drawn line on where you would say that guy missed that tackle because he wasn't coached right, or that guy missed that tackle because he doesn't have heart and he didn't try. There's no line you can see to really say that. So it's hard to argue either way,
I don't think we're going to give much of a learning curve to this staff, though, right? It's I think if you look towards Indy with Steichen, if you look towards somebody who's got this newer quarterback, I think the whole thing of drafting Bryce Young and bringing in Frank Reich and the pedigree of coaches that he brought in is that the curve isn't there, that we're kind of just stepping in and running. I think the expectations of the staff are high this year.
No, I don't disagree that they're high. It's like I said, but my question is I just don't understand where you can draw the line. It's very difficult to draw that line. I agree with what Cody just said about when you see a team prepared and looking like they're into the game and just the overall feel of the team. It's something that you can't really, not tangible, you can't put on paper, that you can tell a coaching staff does, which we didn't see with Matt Rule and players like that. However, I'm still on the mindset of just because a player misses a tackle or drops a ball is not the coach's fault, because
True.
I'm the kind of guy that I go do my job. I know what I'm supposed to do. If I don't do what I'm supposed to do, I don't blame that on my boss. Right. That's on me. I do. So
but if you continue to mess up at your job and your boss continues to let you do that job poorly,
then that is
a reflection of him.
But if my boss has no other option,
not pulling you aside and making you do better, or just outright firing.
If this team looks unprepared in any manner, I'm gonna be floored. Like I think they're not gonna have that grace with me that other coaches would have had, other staffs would have. I am expecting, just like I'm expecting Bryce Young to be further down the road, advanced than the other guys. That's why we brought him in. That's why we hired Frank Reich over pick what other.
So you're just out of curiosity, are you saying you're giving Frank Reich a shorter leash than you gave Matt Rule?
I think you have to.
Okay.
No.
Based on his experience and everything else, I can understand that.
Not timeline, but of just frustration.
Okay.
No. Even with timeline, if he comes in here and he doesn't he's not going to have 3 years of he's not going to have 2 years of bad, just Matt Rule era type of bad years.
Yeah, 5
right?
and 11.
And the reason that is because Matt Rule, you could even blame the inexperience. There was an option to be able to put that out there. Like he's just catching it. He's trying to rebuild this program. He doesn't really, he's trying to get his bearings. He's trying to understand we're trying to rebuild. Like right now, we are not at a rebuild. Like they have built this team in an effort to try to compete today. If they don't come out here and succeed, absolutely Frank Reich has a shorter leash.
Yeah.
I think no matter what, the worst case, he gets 2 years no matter what.
Oh, sir.
Yeah,
sure.
I think that's fair. You got to give him.
I think that's a short leash, though.
Yeah.
I think that's
honestly, I think 3 years is probably like an
I
average
mean,
length.
to me,
leash.
I think that's a normal leash. Like considering that Matt Rule was given a 3rd year and then fired in the middle of the season is a testament to that.
Okay,
You can't go on 3 seasons of looking like trash. If you have 2 in a row, that's looking like kaput.
Well, then how about let's talk about what we can control, not his contract and how long he's coached. In your heart with Frank Reich, how long is his leash? Not how long we're gonna keep him. In your own heart, how long are you gonna have faith in this guy? Say, okay, he's the answer, or I've got faith he's gonna turn it around.
I think in year 3, I will know.
Year 3?
I think year 3 is fair. I'll know.
I think year 3 is fair.
Know. I think I'll be getting nervous.
Oh, I think we'll
after
go
2 years of disappointment. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we're going to be. I think you're right. In some ways, I think he's going to have a winning season in his first 2 years for us not to be outraged.
Yeah, and by the way, the first time he was a first-year head coach with Andrew Luck, he made it to the playoffs in their first year.
Yeah.
He went 10-6.
Right, but with Andrew Luck, Andrew Luck was an experienced
quarterback
by that point.
Yeah, we got Bryce Young, baby.
But again, Bryce Young hasn't played a snap in the NFL. Like I'm hopeful
he's never gotten hurt in the NFL
but
either.
You cannot compare the two of these circumstances to what Frank Reich's going to do.
Watch out, CK. They're going to call you a hater.
Listen, this isn't a matter of me saying he's not going to I still believe the guy's going to come out here and succeed, but to compare him to Andrew Luck that is absolutely dumb. Like that's a dumb thing to try to say that this is going to be a comparable situation. Frank
Why
Reich
is it not a comparable situation?
Because Andrew Luck was already basically considered one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL.
And he had already played this. He wasn't a rookie.
Yeah, he wasn't a rookie.
Yeah, no doubt. That's why
coming
Frank
to Carolina. Are you kidding me?
That's why Frank Reich went to Indianapolis. But I'm saying if we end up having that dude and Bryce this season and comes out looking like a veteran, then it could be the same scenario.
I don't think
he's
that's
going
why
for
Frank
ultra
Reich
smart quarterback that's in control of everything on the offense.
I think Frank Reich was their second choice.
Who was the first?
Remember Jeff McDaniels or whatever, and he backed out.
What's his name?
Josh McDaniels.
Josh.
Remember, Frank Reich wasn't even their first choice.
Yeah. But he was still the offensive coordinator for the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl.
Okay. All right. All good thing. Again, I think I think that he's going to have a winning season in his first 2 seasons for us to to lengthen the leash, I guess. I think the expectations are high. Ooh. Again, is that I think if we finish with 6 wins this year, I think you're going to make a lot of excuses about how people were hurt, but then you're going to say, man, I wish we would have got more out of them.
Yeah. But if we do that, I think that there's going to be a real discussion about the hot seat if we don't start out hot the year after.
Right. That's a great point. All right, let's go to another call, and then I'm going to let you guys think about this. I'm going to leave you guys with a question as we hit JJ's second part of his call. What were we talking about a year ago on this show? Not on our show, just as Panther fans. 1 year ago, I did a Google search where I limited it to June through the day after July 4th. To see what we were talking about a year ago when it comes to Carolina. Don't give it away. Here's the next
Oh,
call.
I didn't tell me you wanted.
Oh, it's JJ calling back again. I wanted to say shout out to the Hornets for making the right decision. All right, I got Brandon Miller's back 100% of the way.
Wow, okay.
He's the
JJ sounds turned up.
big small forward in the NBA. All right,
Especially what he's talking
I'm not
about.
really ready for what he's on. All right, when he puts the pieces together in a year or two, he's going to be special. All right, he's going to be special. People are going to realize what the Hornets were looking at when they wanted the duo of LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller versus Scoot Henderson. So it's okay.
I hope he's right. I hope he's right.
I also wanted to say that, like, Tony, because I remember a few Friday free throws ago, we were talking about Jack Jones, the cornerback for the Patriots, how he had the gun in the airport on his carry-on and stuff. Well, apparently this isn't his first stupid mistake. When he was in college, like, he first was committed to USC, but apparently, like, robbed a Panda Express or some shit like that, a fast food restaurant, and eventually, like, got his scholarship revoked and then went to, like, Arizona State or whatever. Yeah, I just wanted to, like, inform you all about that shit, because I thought that was funny, too. Love the C3 podcast. Everyone use code C3 this upcoming season. Like, comment, subscribe. Shout out everyone on the pod. And come to the Friday free throws. Keep pounding, Panther family.
My man said he robbed a Panda Express.
What do you need to rob at a Panda Express?
Maybe he like ran in and took somebody's DoorDash and ran out. You know, that's what I expect. Because I feel like we would have heard about him robbing something. But if you walked in and you just took the DoorDash off and walked out, you know, a lot of people have to do that. They're just sitting out there in restaurants all the time. People just probably walk up there, act like they're with DoorDash, and just walk out with some
I'm
food.
just saying, if I'm that hungry and I wanted to steal a DoorDash, Panda Express is not going to be what
I've never eaten at a Panda.
Well, here's the thing. When you sign up for those things, they send you the bag and the shirt and all that stuff when you sign up before you ever do a delivery. You're right. You can just sign up, never do anything for them, and just wear that shirt and that hat and go pick
I don't even
stuff
think
up.
they wear shirts and hats. I think there's regular people walking in there and just delivering people's food from Instacart.
Ship
or
is what
something.
I'm thinking about. Ship, they send you shirts and hats.
Yeah. If it's just a DoorDash, I mean, anyone can walk in. They probably thought he was the DoorDash. It was like, yeah, that's fine. I'm going to pick it up.
All right. So 1 year ago, what were people talking about with the Carolina Panthers? I thought this one was fun.
This now.
This right here was something we're still talking about, Cody. 1 year ago, I saw, go ahead and let's put it up, this is Terrace Marshall Jr. catching a pass from Sam Darnold. And we were all sitting here going, oh, Terrace Marshall Jr. about to break out this year. Man, he's going to be so good. He's going to do this. And he did this cool dance. And then we didn't talk about Terrace Marshall Jr. for another 7 weeks. So that's one thing we were talking about a year ago. Let's go. So we were hype on TMJ a year ago. Let's see what else. This was crazy. 1 year ago, Devin Funchess was signing with the Detroit Lions to be a potential tight end. That didn't work out.
No.
Wonder where Devin Funchess is, and he missed out on one of the most prolific offenses in the NFL. Where is Devin Funchess now is the question. And
wasn't he trying to be an NBA player recently?
Really?
I thought I heard that he was trying to play basketball professionally.
Oh, Lord.
He probably could.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I bet you wherever he is, there's some fire-ass salads not too far from him.
I know.
I know.
1 year ago, we were also talking about. See, I don't even know what we're talking. Oh, The end.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
This one took a lot. I wonder what it is like now. You remember the best part of this was just the Halloween Express picture that somebody made right away. Panthers practice facility dead. They after the things go south with Rock Hill. And if they just quit that thing, right? They just left it out there. Who has to clean it up? You just leave it? Looks like but maybe we could go and maybe we should drive past there and get some Last of Us footage or something with CK's drone. It probably looks like a overrun, whatever. Anyway, so a year ago we were talking about the Panthers or David Tepper. Actually here, let's put it this way. And 1 year later, we're not talking about David Tepper being an asshole. Last year, 1 year ago, he was an asshole, right? I mean,
everybody, what wonders a year will do. Everyone went from calling him a dumbass and not firing Matt Rule before the end of the season before.
Having Tepper tantrums.
Yeah, and hey, he brought music to Charlotte, don't you know? Yeah, I mean, nobody had any good things to say about David Tepper, and now. Unless y'all think I'm wrong, I think he's back in the good graces of Panther fans after this offseason that he pulled off, from the coaching staff to letting Federer go up to the #1 overall,
putting his wife in the driver's seat.
Yes, and by the way, I will hear no more Nicole Tepper slander from
slandering her.
I was gonna say, who's slandering her?
Oh, it may not be y'all, but there is a lot of people that refuse to put any respect on the name of Nicole Tepper.
They won't call the show and say that.
Yeah,
they won't call in at 25222.
Catch me outside. That's right.
Right. All right. Hey, let the record show. Cody Lashley of the C3 Panthers Podcast is a fan of Nicole Tepper. That's all.
All right. Here, let's do the. I want to do this one. Read this super chat. Then I want you guys to wait to answer it though until we do the last thing we were talking about last year, and then we give it a second.
So we'll get back to this one. Eric with the $5 says, "What do you guys hope we're talking about a year from now?" Oh, so that is a great follow-up question.
Yeah, fantastic.
All right, we'll get back to it, Eric. Thank you, brother.
All right. 1 year ago, we were also talking about the Carolina Panthers hiring their first openly transgendered cheerleader. And I brought this up a couple of weeks ago. I wonder what was happening with this. Is this still a story? And so when I saw this, I went on Instagram and looked this person up. And she is still with the team. So, hey, 1 year later, she has kept her role with the Carolina Panthers. And 1 year ago today, we were also talking about
I love that picture.
Matt Rule. The time for Matt Rule to make some real progress was the headline that we were dealing with. And now, 1 year later, which is today, we're now talking about Frank Reich and the need to make things right. We're talking about how Bryce Young could have, what type of season he could have, and a lot of other about really how prolific this offense could be. So now let's go to Eric's comment. Thank you for the donation, Eric. $5 super chat. You can support the show by smashing the thumbs up button, by becoming a C3 super fan for just $1.99 a month. You can support the show, or you can give a super chat like Eric did and be super generous in that case. Or you could even do something like come and hang out with us at Monster Subs in about 20 days or so. Thursday, the 27th, I think.
3 weeks. Just a little over 3 weeks is when we'll be at Monster Sub.
And I'm bringing the hammer too, because people think it's all fake. This thing's real. This thing's like heavy. I could kill somebody with this. We're gonna see.
So we'll be
Yes.
hanging out at Monster Subs, and we'll be thinking about what will we be talking about in 1 year. I'll start off with this: is what I wonder if we'll be talking about how hot Spartanburg is, or if we're going to be in a different place. Will Spartanburg continue to be the host site for the Carolina Panthers and training camp? And to relate that to the dead Rock Hill story, it felt like Spartanburg was going to be a thing of the past for a while. And now I'm wondering where the hell else it could be. Where else would the Panthers do training camp? 1 year from now, Cody, what are we talking about heading into training camp?
Oh, we are going to be talking about, I'm going to go out on a limb here, okay? We're going to be talking about what do we expect from Josh McCown in his first year as offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Because I think our offense is going to be so good this year.
That Thomas Brown is gone.
Thomas
Crazy.
Brown is going to be out the door.
Greg, what are we talking about a year from now?
I got two, and they're very hopeful. And this is for all the haters out there. I hope that we're talking about the rookie of the year that Carolina traded up for. That's the start of that's the cornerstone of our franchise in the future. And the other one ties into the Spartanburg thing. I hope that that we see the first year in Winston-Salem as the training camp facility or whatever they move it to.
There you go.
Instead of Spartanburg.
Just
as far away.
CK 1 year from now. CK 1 year from now. Maybe we'll be saying something to the effect of, can the Carolina Panthers string together winning seasons? Will the Carolina Panthers win the NFC South 2 years in a row? I don't know. What else could we be talking about a year from now, CK?
Will the Carolina Panthers be picking up JC Horn's fifth-year option?
Yeah.
Ooh,
boom.
Okay.
Oh, spicy.
There you go. There you go. Those are all things we could be talking about a year from now. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's get back to the cat calls. This is Anthony from Charlotte. Oh, then my phone went blank.
What's up, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. Hope y'all boys are having a good Wednesday and that your 4th of July was good. Hope y'all didn't wake up hungover like I did. That was terrible, but it was a lot of fun. Not much to talk about. Just saw Bryce and the boys, the wide receivers, working out today. That's always good to see. Well, that's going on. Michael Rubin had a huge party, invited everyone from Lil Baby, Tom Brady, James Harden. CJ Stroud went there because, he gives off that I don't give a fuck about football vibe that I've been saying for months. And being great at the sport is a choice. When you have the talent, it's a choice. And I'm glad that we made the right pick with that one. Bryce Young's out here working. He wants to be great. And there's not much more you could want from that. Second thing I wanted to say is I'm going to win the C3 Dynasty League.
No.
My team is loaded so far.
No
Let's
way.
go. I'll
Get
take
out of
all
here.
the motherfucking
Cut the call
smoke.
off. No.
And
This
yeah,
must have been a
just
few
wanted to
days
point
ago.
that out. Just
Yeah.
throw that out there.
No way.
Greg's been wheeling and dealing. Shout out to Greg, looking like Howie Roseman from the Eagles right now.
Damn, he was sitting there talking shit
last thing I
about
wanna
you, and
say
you
is
just
that,
came in with a compliment?
No, I was saying he's not going to win, but I am
Everyone knows who I'm
willing
talking
to.
to with this, but I'm not even gonna name his name. But I do not hate the Panthers. And listen, last year I was completely shitted on for believing in Baker Mayfield and this and that, wanting him on the team. And the main reason that I did was because I wanted some reason to be excited about this team. Like, I'm a Panthers fan. I want to be excited about the team, want to think that we can do good. And I was just fooling myself. He was never going to be good here. And this year I'm taking a different approach. I want us to win the division. I want us to go far into the playoffs as we possibly can. It's just with a new regime, Frank Reich, who just got fired. Granted, I know he didn't have a quarterback. I'm just trying to keep my expectations limited. And I'm the second biggest Bryce Young fan behind G Baby. I want him to be great. The only thing is I don't want our expectations to be so high to the point where if we don't reach that, then there's going to be all these more arguments about how we should have taken the other quarterback, this and that, because you're a rookie. You need time to develop. Even Bryce Young does. So that was my whole point on that. Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding, boys.
Anthony, and this is what I keep coming back at you with. If you want to say, oh, well, I don't want to get my feelings hurt, I don't want to have too high of expectations and be shattered, fine. Okay, if that's what you want to do, fine. But you're also not making a fair assessment of what our team is actually capable of doing. You're just saying, well, I'm not going to get my
You're
hopes up.
living in fear.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, man, hey, scared money don't make money, bro. And this is what I'm saying, Anthony, bro. You've been Bryce's #1 fan. You and G Baby have been pounding the keep pounding drum all offseason for Bryce. And now you want to temper the expectations? Bro, no one is going to clown on you if you're wrong. You might as well go all out and believe in your boy and say, no, he's about to drop his nutsack on the NFL this year. That's what I'm doing. Hey, that's my
Go ahead
now.
and trade Matt Corral for a bag of donuts because Bryce Young is going to drop his donuts on the league this year.
I'm so
Here,
cutting that clip
it's
right
a
there.
great, great segue for this call right here.
Hey.
It's a,
you know who the fuck it is. Booyaka, booyaka, booyaka!
He's gonna get me.
Y'all see my boy?
It is.
Getting in that work, putting in that work. The truth, motherfucker. The motherfucking truth. You know, Cody, like, I respect the fact that you're actually, you know, giving my boy the credit where credit is due, you did?
Yeah, bro.
It's nice to see you come over to the good side, bruh. Oh, hey, where you fucking CJ Stroud fans at, bro? I gotta get at you boys, man. Dude, like you said, Cody, the dude was doing GQ magazines, doing this and this before he was anybody, G.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why Bryce Young was the #1 pick in the motherfucking draft. And there's a reason why he is got the IQ of a fucking savant. Greg, you made me fucking sick. You made me fucking
We
sick.
just get that a shirt. Just you make me.
Yeah,
That is a good shirt. Yeah.
I ain't even gonna get at you like that, Greg, because I've already got at you today. But bro, the audacity, bro. Panther Nation, Greg ain't one of us. He ain't, bro. He ain't. But you know what? That motherfucker, he gonna learn his lesson. You gonna learn today,
We gonna
motherfucker.
see. Who won the last
You
bet,
gonna
man?
learn, motherfucker.
Who won the last bet, man? That's
Yeah,
all
I
I'm
got some more shit for you, bro. But, you know, this has been a boring off season. Training camp is right around the corner. I'm excited about that. And, you know, the season is upon us, boys. We're almost to August. And you know what that means? Preseason football. And let's see, what else? We don't really have much to talk about, but the motherfucking truth. Bryce fucking Young. Looking thick. Beefing the fuck up. Greg.
No.
Get off my boy's nuts.
No, hold on. Yeah, hold on.
I'll be back for your ass. Don't worry, Greg.
G-Baby shirt. You make me fucking sick.
I like that. I like that shirt. Hey, I want to ask though. Sorry, my dog's like he posted a picture, right? And it was all these people in these court, and Bryce Young is in the far right, right? He's talking about how jacked and how thick Bryce Young is. And he's the only one on the right side with a t-shirt on instead of flexing and showing his muscles. So like
what are we doing?
Even if he's getting thick, he's still the smallest looking guy there. Like it's and don't get me wrong, he's bigger than me. Like I said, I'm not knocking him.
This is
G-Baby
G-Baby drafted Bryce Young the first in the first round. 1, 2, 3.
That's wild.
4,
That is wild.
5, 6, 7th pick.
7, yep.
But that tells you how much he loves this dude.
Agreed.
Bro.
Hey, you know,
and this is in a dynasty league. You go 2 quarterback. You try to get 2 elite quarterbacks.
Right.
That because you get to start a quarterback in the super flex. So I mean, look, I went and I feel gross about my picks.
Hey, I love my team.
I picked Deshaun Watson in the second round.
Yeah,
God, I feel so gross.
Okay, now I picked Mixon just now too, and I feel bad about that. But I'm playing fantasy football. I'm not, you know.
But
Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, Deshaun Watson.
Dynasty league, because it's a dynasty league, I feel good about my quarterbacks because I got one that is I'm hoping it'll be good into the future. And I got one that's good right now. I got Joe Burrow and Anthony Richardson.
All right,
Whatever.
here,
You
let's
passed
do
up on
this.
Trevor
Here,
Lawrence.
You guys want to hear the teams right now?
You passed up on
right.
Trevor Lawrence.
know,
Man.
shut
Come
up.
on,
CK,
dude.
are you not in the draft? CK, you're in the draft, right?
No, no, I don't.
You're not in this league?
No.
Oh,
Hey,
wow.
but it's
But you're
not
in the
because
chat?
it's not because Kev didn't try.
Okay.
He did beat down your
Okay.
door.
Well,
So
I'll tell my
here-
team. We don't go through all the teams. I'll
This
tell my
is
team.
not
through
here. I'll
seven
tell you.
rounds.
I'll read them off right here. This
Yeah.
is Cody's team right now. And we're through what? Round 6?
We're in round 6 right now.
Or yeah. So Cody's team,
Or in
Joe,
round 7, I'm sorry.
Joe Burrow, Anthony Richards. Now this is super flex, guys. So you get this is dynasty super flex. So the way this works is we could keep as many players as we want next year. Like we can keep our whole squad
And you got
forever.
4 rookie, yeah.
And then you can also run 2 quarterbacks each week because you're a super flex spot. You can put a quarterback in. So Cody went Joe Burrow, Anthony Richardson, Devontae Smith, DJ Moore.
No, that's G baby. I traded
Oh,
that one.
okay. All right. So that's all right. So did you get rid of your 4th round pick entirely?
You got to go to their hold on, I'll tell you what they are right here.
Yeah,
you
so
gotta,
right-
you gotta
right
go
now-
to their things. Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I have Joe Burrow, Anthony Richardson, Devontae Smith, Quentin Johnson. That's the rookie for the Chargers, and I got Dallas Goedert from Philadelphia.
Okay. Okay. Greg, what's your team?
I got Josh Allen first round, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Jalen Waddle, Jordan Addison, Joe Mixon, and Calvin Ridley right now.
Oh, you didn't go 2 quarterbacks, did you?
Not yet.
You can
But
be
no, I haven't
starting
yet
what?
because look, I mean, once you get past a certain point of supreme quarterbacks, there are a lot of players that can outscore mid-level quarterbacks. So if you can't get us 2 supremes to start,
I think
sometimes better
that's-
to start the
I
players.
don't know if that's true.
It
And what
is.
I mean by that is I think Justin Jefferson averaged 21 points.
You're talking about an elite wide receiver. That's
like the best.
Yeah.
And then like the 10th best best quarterback also averaged 21 points.
Well, that's only talking about averages though.
Okay.
You know,
Here, this
I
is
mean,
my I got
fair
Jalen
point, yeah.
Hurts, Deshaun Watson, Stephon Diggs, Kyle Pitts, Miles Sanders so far.
Hey, by the way, if you want to trade for Stephon Diggs, hit me up.
Oh, if you want you want to trade, you want him?
I mean, I got Josh
Man.
Allen, so if you want to trade for Stephon Diggs, hit me up. Or actually, I'll hit you up. How about that? I'll send you an offer.
Yeah, you better be sending me somebody then.
Tony, don't do it.
No,
I got
Don't
picks
do
you
next
it.
better
season,
not be
buddy. I got
sending me
lots
no
of, I got
Chris
lots of picks next
Olave
season.
bullshit.
What do you mean Chris Olave, man? He's a
Nah,
legit
don't do
receiver.
it.
I don't
Don't
got
do
him.
it.
So
Nah, Stephon Diggs gonna blow up this year.
Cody,
Again.
I know.
No.
I got Josh Allen, so I want him.
No, okay, well then who? Yeah, I need to get Nick to come off of Jamar Chase. I either need Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. I
Look,
should have got him earlier.
The first 12 of the first 15 picks in this league were quarterbacks. I've played fantasy football for years, 12 years. Never seen a league where 12 quarterbacks went off the board in the first.
But
15
this
picks.
because you get to start
Yeah.
2 quarterbacks. It's just
Yeah.
different. There's just so many.
It was
And
crazy,
now,
man.
like, I don't want to start a run. You're never going to put anybody in that flex position other than a quarterback ever.
I don't know.
All right, let's go to the last call of the night right now.
This is your boy, baby. Yeah, I just find it fucking amusing that motherfuckers just find every fucking reason, like every single fucking reason, every excuse to fucking hate on my nigga Bryce Young, bruh. We have a fucking savant at the QB position. We have never had this type of fucking savant at a QB position, the most important position on the fucking field. Bryce Young wasn't out partying. The fuck is wrong with you guys? You know what Bryce Young did? Bryce Young's a fucking homebody. He would rather stay at home and fucking study the fucking playbook. That's fun to him. That's fun for Bryce Young. Being great. Having that greatness, that fucking X factor, bruh. Bryce can do all that partying after the NFL. Right now, he's so fucking focused. He's got that tunnel vision, bro. He's coming for the accolades. He's coming for that fucking NFL championship, motherfucker. He's fucking hungry, bro. And he came to the most prepared team to ever take the #1 pick in the NFL draft, bro. Put some fucking respect on my motherfucking nigga's name, bruh. The fucking
Bryce
truth.
having fun.
Bryce fucking Young. Never fucking thought I'd say this, but roll tide, motherfuckers. What y'all talking about? A savant. But y'all keep on finding those fucking excuses because at the end of the day, it's going to slap you in the face because when we go 2-0 against 2 division rivals, motherfuckers is going to start jumping on the fucking wagon, bruh. Fucking pathetic. You know who the fuck this is. We ain't got much to talk about, but you all are going to hear this motherfucking sexy, smooth-ass voice. I ain't got that deep voice. I ain't got them deep pipes like fucking, like CK, but I do have a fucking sexy, a very sexy, smooth voice. And shout out to my nigga, my OG Panther Pickle, man. Shout out to you, and shout out to C-Dog. You won't fucking find out real fucking soon too. Shout out to motherfucking Ant. What's good with you, partner?
You maybe got that voice that got Cougars going crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And by the way, that video I was posted up, that was Bryce just having fun.
Hey,
and,
you know what, man? That video looks good. And like I said, I'm not wanting Bryce Young. I'm not doubting he can do well. I just want to see it. And from what I see so far, it's looking really good. I like the direction he's going. I just haven't seen him play in the NFL yet. And when I see that, I think I'm going to be very, very pleasantly surprised.
I'm just happy that our quarterback. I'm just happy that our quarterback was going to practice with his teammates rather than going to a famous celebrity party that his ass didn't even belong at. That's all I'm saying, man.
All right. Let's see what else we got going on. So Anthony wanted me to list off, tell him, and I can't show it real well, or else it's like, for some reason, it's so small when I put it up, when I share it on the screen for like.
That's what I've been saying.
Ouch.
Can you see that?
I mean, you can see it, but you can't read anything.
I was always told that the camera had 10 pounds.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes and Garrett Wilson, Tyreek Hill, Mark Andrews.
I don't think he gets Mark. Was that in a trade?
No. It's not straight down the line. That's not how the picks go. Like what you have to do is you have to go to each player or each team owner and then check their team out. Yeah, because you see where everything's highlighted. All the highlighted spots are all trades. So if everybody watching this, you see how many trades have already been made.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. None of his has those trade things though. Like you see right here,
he did trade with Greg, I think, somewhere. Right? Didn't he trade with you, Greg?
I don't
know. Who are we looking at?
Anthony.
Over here on the far left.
No, he has no trades. It doesn't look like. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
he
straight up.
He hasn't. Well, no, he does have trades. He just only made a trade that he gets in the next round. He hasn't used a pick that he's.
So he's got Mahomes, he's got Garrett Wilson, he's got Tyreek Hill, he's got Mark Andrews, he's got Tony Pollard, and he's got Aaron Jones.
Right. And next round he gets a pick that he traded for.
See, I think some people are going to be they don't know. They got to be looking at that multiple quarterback thing. I don't know who's y'all's next quarterback.
Listen, I ran a multi-quarterback super flex league for 10 years. It doesn't always work out that the person who has 2 quarterbacks wins. When you can play 4 tight ends, 6 running backs, 6 wide receivers, there are a ton of ways to skin the cat, man. I'm telling you. It's not always the 2 quarterback.
Dude, do you think G Baby is a fan of Bryce Young?
That's what I'm saying. He picked him. Yeah.
His first pick was, and dude, hey, that could end up being the steal of the whole draft, bro.
It could be.
Let's see who only went. There's only one. Oh, this is a good look here. How many teams went quarterback? You went quarterback.
Yeah,
I didn't.
I went quarterback. G Baby went quarterback.
Hold up.
I didn't. I think that
G Baby didn't. Or no, G Baby did. Kev
is that
did not. Yeah, it looks like right now. Yeah, it was me, you, and G Baby that went.
Right. I got 3 elite wide or 3 elite.
That's still a lot, though. Look, Patrick Mahomes
Pickle don't even got a quarterback.
He does.
Yeah,
He's
he
got
does.
Tua and he's
Yeah,
got
he's got Tua
Goff.
and
Oh, where's
Jared
Tua
Goff.
at?
He stole Goff
Right
from me.
here.
I was gonna pick him
Look,
up this
right here.
round.
Oh,
He's the
okay.
last pick, yeah.
Okay.
He stole Goff from me.
And then he just picked up Jared Goff.
And he's got Justin Fields. He got 3
No,
quarterbacks.
that's Kevin.
That was a
They
trade,
traded him.
yeah.
That's white chocolate.
Okay. This is gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Gonna be interesting. All right. Those are the cat calls. That's a little insight into the C3 Dynasty League that's going on in the background. We got 2 more segments to go. Let's talk about a little bit of NFL news around the league. And don't worry, it's a slow news cycle there, just like it is for the Carolina Panthers. Cody, I'm going to say this real slow in case you are pulling up the bumper slowly. We're going to get into this slow news cycle. Talk about this NFL news.
You know what that means? It's time to go around the NFL.
I found this wild, bro. And I don't think there's a lot of, I don't know what it is, but like right now, ESPN is firing legends, parting ways with people that have been there for 20 years. They're bringing in a new era. Pat McAfee, he's already taken heat on his first show from people on the internet about it feeling ESPN-ish or something like this.
Did he do his first show?
I don't
on
know. I
ESPN?
just saw somebody talking junk about it.
Every day I see him, he's still live on his YouTube page.
I think
he
he's
does
always
it. He does
gonna
it
be on
everywhere. Yeah.
So he's on ESPN too?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
So they just make it like they just broadcast it on TV as well, but it's still his YouTube channel.
Oh, so it's his show. They're just taking his show and making
Yes.
it their property on. Okay.
But he can't drop the F-bomb anymore because it's on
Right.
live
got,
TV.
Yeah. Restrictions.
Boo.
6 words out of what? 44,000. Yeah. Something like that.
I thought this was wild as shit. Is Antonio Bryant?
Antonio
he tweeted
Brown?
out, yeah, Brian. I said Brian. Antonio Brown. AB tweeted out, excited to announce my new partnership with ESPN. What are we going to have? Some Antonio Brown and Stephen A. Smith together?
Dude, who knows?
What in the world?
I'm just so
bullshitting. He's not even real with this.
Right.
If it is, I'm just so glad that somebody who's done such a great job of really portraying themselves as a good individual ends up with something like this. That's just a great way.
I
to
hope for this, bro. Like there could be nothing better,
dude. So
than
many people
AB
lost
with Skip Bayless on Fox.
So many people lost their jobs. Like I just don't think that the dude
It's not true.
ran. Yeah, it can't be. But the dude
I hope
ran
it's not.
an arena football team in the ground. Like that's this what this
He
guy
is a
did.
cancer for everywhere he goes.
What would be better, AB with Stephen A. Smith or AB with Skip Bayless?
Oh God.
AB with no one. Have you heard him have a conversation with anyone? He's fucking
Dude, I wouldn't be able
terrible,
to-
dude.
yeah, I wouldn't be able to
Yeah,
deal with it.
he really has issues, bro. Like he'll start thinking that you're talking about something that you're not, or that you're insinuating something that you're not. Bro, he's not good on the mic. Bro, I'm telling you, man, that Vontaze Burfict hit, that fucked him up. He is not the same, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, he
I
ruined
heard a stat recently. I was listening to the Joe Rogan show, and this is where I heard it. And Joe, they were talking about he said, I would rather in some ways for my kids to be in martial arts and fighters than in the NFL.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like, man, that's kind of wild because like boxing, I mean, you just you just head hit after head hit after head hit. But he said that when they did the CTE study, that they found that 99% of people in the NFL had it.
What?
I call bullshit on that.
Yeah,
I call bullshit.
Some sort of. It's not like it's a gradient scale. I think
nowhere in nature does a 99% to 1 ratio lie.
Yeah, no,
There's absolutely no way.
While I do think
Except,
those
excuse me, I'm
numbers-
wrong. Driving off a cliff 100% of the time.
Well, I
is a
think
dog.
isn't it kind of like inflammation in a certain way? Like every single one of us has
So-
inflammation
no,
in our
no,
bodies.
'cause not
Possibly.
Just
So
what-
are they
not
lowering the
everyone's-
standards
degree?
of what it is to call it CTE? That's the question.
Well, but not everyone's going to contract CTE. And they said that if you have the gene that makes you more likely to have Alzheimer's, you're more likely to develop CTE as a result of continued concussions. Like Tony Hawk got, because, he's been slammed throughout his career going off of ramps and verts. And he was tested and he didn't have the gene. So he just kept on skating. But you're right 100%. Being a mixed martial artist, fighting in the UFC is 100% healthier
for your
than,
brain.
But yeah.
Only for your brain.
Well, but no, even other things. I mean, you're not having to go through 4 quarters. You might end up fighting in the first round and then get out of
and be
there and
dead.
take no damage. No, you're not going to be dead. Dude, but having a car crash on your body multiple times every Sunday, you're not getting that type of damage if you're a mixed martial artist. And you can take the fight to the ground where you're not taking near as many strikes.
All right. What else is in the news? AB. I want to see AB with Stephen A. Stephen A. You know what it would be like if AB was on Stephen A's show? It would be like when Paul Pierce went on Kevin Garnett's live stream. It's like Stephen A. just being like, "We live, AB. We live. AB, come on. We all."
Yeah.
I saw this. DeAndre Hopkins tweeted this out. He said, "Whoever's in my future wide receiver group, I promise I will make your job easy."
Oh, I promised Kev that I would show this. He wanted me to show you this for this is DJ Chark. We were talking about his PFF numbers. And these were the numbers that he was referring to. He's got a 69.6 overall receiving and an overall grade, which is kind of funny. And then he had one more.
Because fart jokes are still funny.
Well, of course.
And 69 jokes are still funny.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the greatest. It's the greatest. But no, that's it.
Okay. DeAndre Hopkins would make everybody easier. Also in the news. So yeah, I mean, look, we've talked a lot about DeAndre Hopkins, but I think that's cool. Is like first is like he knows that he's gonna make everybody better on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I drafted Stephon Diggs in my fantasy league, and some people have said that he's been feuding with or problems with Josh Allen. I have found that hard to believe. I saw this story on NFL.com. Bills. Josh Allen says Stephon Diggs' situation in minicamp was overblown. No reason to continue talking about it.
Now that alone is going to make more people talk about it.
Right.
Because that's what you would do. You would be like, nah, nothing to see here. It's almost like.
What do you think it is? I feel like he just wants to be the offense.
He is the offense.
He is the offense.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
no, Josh Allen is the offense.
No,
but-
Stephon. I mean, I think he wants everything funneling towards him.
It is though. You look, you cannot give it more to Stephon Diggs than Josh Allen is in this situation. I mean, like it's crazy. They don't even have a running back.
You
Name
know,
another
Josh
wide
Allen
receiver.
was so close to being the #1 fantasy quarterback last year too.
For the last 3 years, he was the last 2 years before that.
Right,
He was
and
3
he
points
was-
away last year.
Yeah.
He's on my team. Just saying.
So we were talking about Adam Thielen and the second iteration of his career in Carolina. And we mentioned the name, and this is not to throw shade on the name that we mentioned, but we're just trying to find players that adapted, involved later into their careers. Larry Fitzgerald, I saw his name pop up. We talked a lot about him last week. And I saw his name pop up on a story. Cody, check this one out. Larry Fitzgerald is the highest paid wide receiver in football history. Like he made more money in the NFL as a receiver than any other wide receiver ever.
I can believe that.
And I wanted you guys' help in helping me figure this. I had trouble understanding this, and I was like tired of reading it. The first paragraph, easy, right? Fitzgerald's been one of the best players in his position in the sport, both during college at Pittsburgh as well as NFL. He got paid accordingly, with $182 million under his belt after a 16-year NFL career. Fitzgerald is the highest earning wide receiver in NFL history. Only one wide. Now, I get this next sentence too. I get this one. Only one other wide receiver in league history, Calvin Johnson, has eclipsed $100 million in career earnings while spending their entire career with one team. Okay, one team. That's what I was missing. Julio Jones. See, I feel like this isn't telling us how much they really made. Julio Jones made $36 million with one team.
Well,
I wonder who has just been the guy that's made $87 million as a receiver. Who's the third highest paid receiver ever?
I think, no, there's a difference. I think they are giving you that right here. It's not third highest paid receiver ever. It's third highest paid wide receiver
with
from
one
team. And I think that's the numbers right there. I think Larry Fitzgerald of Arizona's 1.
Okay.
I think that Calvin Johnson was Detroit's 2, and Julio Jones is 3. I think that's what they're giving you.
I want to say this is I kind of believe if they're saying Fitzgerald is the number one, that he's the highest earning wide receiver in NFL history. And then they switched to this $1
million a year.
Yeah, but then they switched to this one team conversation next, which I thought was confusing. I would just like to know who the second overall earning wide
Calvin
receiver
Johnson
was.
I think it's because it says the only other wide receiver in league history that's eclipsed. I think
with one team. With one team. I wonder.
Oh, you just mean overall?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because it wouldn't be hard for me to fathom that Fitzgerald is clearly just the highest paid, period. It doesn't matter with one team or not.
I think because of salary caps now compared to before, I think it has to be a player of recent. Like within the last 20 years, it's retired. Has to be that kind of guy. Because when I was younger, players didn't get paid this. Not that they weren't better. They didn't get paid this money. So it's, if you're talking totally about salary and amount of salary, it's got to be a guy like in Larry Fitzgerald's era. For a wide receiver, Terrell Owens, maybe. But Terrell Owens good.
This is a different one. It says who are the richest NFL wide receivers of all time? This said Jerry Rice 50 million, Larry Fitzgerald 50 million, Julio 50, Tyreek 50, AJ. See, this can't be right. Rookie Road. I don't like this website already. Interesting question.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Who else would it be? Randy Moss?
I mean, Devontae Adams signed like a...
Yeah, Devontae Adams. Stephon Diggs signed a big one.
Interesting.
Odell Beckham? How much has he made?
He's made a lot.
He's made a lot, yeah. But not with one team.
Right. So. I mean, it's going to be hard for anybody to make 182 million, period.
Yeah.
I wonder who it would be. They would have to sign multiple big deals, right? And so we know maybe Tyreek is getting close there. Who else?
Tyreek's not with the same team now. I can't think of a single wide receiver that's been with a team for.
No, I'm saying take that part out of it. Just give me the most paid. So Stephon Diggs with 2. So he made with 2 years left on a 5-year, $72 million deal signed with Minnesota. Stephon agreed to an extension that runs through 2027. He's still career earnings was only $58 million.
What about Odell?
Not even on the list.
Odell is one I would consider to think about. Adams.
Considering how long he's played, that's why it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing.
I'm trying to think who else has played at a high level for that long through their career.
Wes
No.
Welker, but I don't think it was that long.
Yeah, not
But
even.
He played pretty well for a while. Greg Jennings played good for a long time.
What about
but it was still a little early.
I was about to say Edelman. No, probably
They would
not
have to
there.
get 2 big time deals.
Ra-
What's
I mean,
funny
Randy Moss,
is
yeah.
who's that corner that remember that not Antonio Cromartie. Who was the corner that went from the Patriots to the Bucks to the Jets to the Jets to the Bucks to the Patriots?
I think that was Cromartie.
No.
Like the greatest corner of all time.
Yeah.
Almost.
Well, Darrell Reeves.
Yeah, Revis.
yeah,
He probably
Revis,
made more
yeah.
money than all these fools.
Oh yeah,
Probably,
for sure.
yeah.
All right.
I mean, I
That's the
think
news.
corners probably make more, huh?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I guess they both.
And
make.
you got to buck around. You got to. It's like somebody told me once: if you wanted a raise, you got to change companies. You got to change jobs. Like if you just like a significant pay bumps.
Yeah.
Because if you're just getting incremental pay raises per year, but what you do, and this guy had moved around and then came back to a company he had started with. I mean, he's like, by this point, they have to reevaluate your salary. So it's actually hard sticking with the same team and making money, probably. So anyway, all right, that's the news, and that's the C3 Panthers podcast, all except the last segment, the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast. That's the Ice Up segment, where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. It's our homage to Steve Smith. Let's ice these fools up, Cody.
Let's do it.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
Ice Up, son. It is the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast, where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. Hopefully you guys got some ice ups, because I'm a little unprepared at this moment.
Yeah, I got one. I just got a funny one. I'll keep it lighthearted tonight. I had another one that I thought I saved, but I didn't. So I just need to be better at remembering to save them. I'm just gonna say, hey, you gotta be careful when you're on the treadmill in the gym. Okay. And if you fall down, just take the L. Just take the L and let go. Because it could always be worse. As this poor lady had to find out the hard way.
I think it's funny she didn't let go until her pants came off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, let go. Just let go.
That is when you saw somebody came running over there. Somebody came running over there, saw her pants were off. Like, oh no, sorry.
Yeah, so to this poor lady, sometimes you just gotta know how to know when you've already lost. And about I'll show you. Right here, when she's trying to do all this, it's already too late. You need to let go and just let it happen, because now you just showed everybody your ass. And dude, now this is on the internet, so even more people have seen it than she even intended. So to that poor lady, ice up. Oh,
she has nothing to be embarrassed about, you know. So,
well, to be fair, I don't think we as men don't think she has anything to be embarrassed about.
Right. Okay.
But as a woman who has her butt on the, like, she
That's
probably
a fair
still
point.
going to remain
I would be
embarrassed.
embarrassed if it was me up there.
Yeah,
I wouldn't care. Get up.
And that happened. I just think it's ridiculous how those pants went.
Yep, just straight down her ass.
Oh, poor girl. At least,
but that's all I got.
Face.
Yeah.
All right, ice up. Know when to fold them.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, who else has got one for us?
I guess I can go real quick. I didn't really have one, but this is just a funny video that my daughter showed me, and I'm kind of icing myself up about this because, like, okay, this video is a talk show. I'm not even sure what it is. My daughter sent it to me on TikTok, and it's people picking on a little boy who's overweight, which I don't condone. Not people picking on. It's a little boy who's being interviewed about being picked on for being overweight. And this video has been dubbed over by what the people that are running the show, I guess the panel is saying. And I didn't realize that it was dubbed over so for the longest time until tonight, I thought ice this guy up because he has issues from his childhood that he didn't deal with that he's dealing with right here. So I'm icing myself up for thinking that to begin with. But I want to share this real quick and just watch. Whoever edited this did a really good job because it fooled me like for a little while. Let me see if I can share it here. I should have probably did this beforehand.
Thank God I thought of mine too.
Here we go. So here we go. Here's the video.
Sure.
What kind of names were these kids calling you at the pool?
Meathead, Fatso, Wide Butt, Wally the Whale.
Porky, Hog, Fat Ass, Double.
Heard those a few times.
So I thought that was real for the longest time. I was like, holy shit, what is this guy doing? He had that like in the chamber. But it's dubbed over apparently when I watched it on the bigger screen. I see it on the bigger screen. So I'm icing myself up for that. I was gonna ice him up, but I'm icing myself up for that. So
all right. I got one for you.
Do it, Tony.
Oh, all right. So some of this was also in lieu of us having this conversation that we had in the DMs.
Mm-hmm.
And Greg is talking about the world and how terrible some things are. And he's given these like just what I would say very extreme examples.
Fair.
Okay.
Okay.
Not about, so it's like, oh man, that might be, but I can't imagine this happening all, this and that. So as I tried to take this position of, oh, this can't be happening all over, this and that, and like, oh, those are extreme examples. My daughter, who is the middle child, she's not a reader. And when I say not a reader, she doesn't love, like she reads, she does her homework, she works real hard in school. Mm-hmm. She wants to succeed, but like she isn't just cuddled up with a book. And so anytime, and I am a big reader and I think it's just important for our brains. And I think it's very hard for you to become a reader if you weren't one early in life. Like it's a hard thing to become. So I encourage, we're big on going to the library, we're big on this. So my daughter comes up to me and she says, I want you to buy, can you get this book for me? And usually the first thing I do is I say like, hey, look, let's check the free apps. Cause we go to the library, these types of things. Cause I just like not spending the money on books anymore. So we couldn't. And I was like, man, you know what? Who cares? How much is it on Amazon? And I'll buy it for you. So I said, well, what is it? And we looked it up. It was $3 or whatever, $4. And this was the cover.
Oh, yeah. I know what book that is.
You know what this is?
Oh, yeah, dude.
I've heard of this book. Yep. I know
Tony,
what that is.
When you shared this shit, my mouth dropped to the fucking floor,
Dude,
bro.
All right. So this is so my daughter comes up, she says, man, I want to get this book. And I was like, oh, you want to just sure, let's do it. Let me see what it is. All right. So I'm kind of in one hand, I want to I'm icing myself up because my argument to people is that we need to be involved in our kids' lives. Mm-hmm. It's ultimately our responsibility as parents to help them and guide them in making good decisions. And not just like let the world, because the world is burning. I think that my kids' responsibility comes on me. But so I look at this, it's New York Times bestseller, Icebreaker. For you guys that are listening, it is a cartoon. It looks like if anything,
it's
this
a graphic
is what
novel.
I would.
It's graphic.
No, it's not a graphic novel.
No?
This is just a book. This is just a book. This is just a book. I thought this is like, if anything, I'm like, man, you're in 6th grade, you're 12, you're going into 7th grade. I was like, the cover of this is almost too childish. Like I was thinking it was the reading level or some crap. It's like, but look at this, written by this person, Hannah Grace. I should have looked at just this little byline here, or whatever this is, this little catch. It says, sweltering chemistry, sizzling banter, and swoon-worthy romance. I'm icing up though this publishing company.
Yeah.
This hold on, I'll tell you. Let me see. I gotta pull it up on my phone, and I'm gonna read. Look, I'm gonna read you guys some excerpts and get ready. If you're listening with your kids, turn it off. If you don't like to hear graphic sexual content, turn it off. But you have to hear how.
And if you're on Rumble, you're good. So
insane this is. Is insane. This is published by Area Books. I'm icing up this author. I'm icing up the person, the publisher and the editor that made this cover, this selection right here. And I'm also icing up the 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old girls on TikTok who read this smut. Let's see. Hold on here. I had it.
And where did you buy this for your
just Amazon? Amazon.
$3.
Yeah, $3.99 or something.
Very affordable.
Right.
Easy to buy for your kids. Yeah, just go ahead and get it.
Hold on. I want to see. I'm just gonna read you the two passages I sent you, and then maybe I can find it because it's even worse than that.
Okay.
Like this is it's worse than this. It's all right.
It's super cringe.
His eyes are pouring into mine, so I don't miss the flash of surprise when my hands reach for his belt. Can I? Fuck yes. He helps me strip him down until he's standing in front of me and is only his boxers, which is the moment I realize there is absolutely no way it will fit in my mouth or anything else for that matter. Nate is smirking as I sit gobsmacked. I shake it off because I'm not a quitter.
Dude, it's so cringe.
It says and I'm certainly not giving him the satisfaction of telling him how big it is. Listen to this. This is it. I've been tested recently. There's nothing to report, but I can put on a condom if you want me to, he asks. As I run my hands up the front of his thighs, I shake my head and watch as he takes himself out, tightening his fist around the base and pumping a few times. He bends down. It goes on to say this is like his dick is already hard, protruding proudly from his pelvis with cum glistening on the end. I take turns circling my fingers against my swollen clit and pumping them up. I mean,
They're not coming for your kids.
Dude, that's softcore porn.
They're not coming for your kids, y'all.
It's literotica.
Yeah,
it's like
that's
it's
erotica.
smut.
Yeah,
it's erotica. It is what you should be putting on Pornhub. And what I would say is this: is God
said it's just a new phase of Marvel.
So here, my ice up really goes to the editor for the cover, right? Because is that yes, as a parent, I probably should have flipped through it, right? And there's some different things, but I feel like that's so misleading. Like if you, I mean, it's just beyond misleading.
Sure.
And kudos to my daughter because she really like what she said is this to me is like she went and read it. She came down a couple of like she'd be like, I'm on page 68. It's great. It's great. It's great. And this all happens at one and just go TikTok icebreaker and these girls are reading it online. You know, I mean, it's just like and they all know it's about these chapters around page 139. It's a big deal. So I asked my daughter, I said, oh, how's the book going? She said, I stopped reading it. I was like, oh, damn, that was short-lived. She said it was inappropriate. And I was like, inappropriate. I was thinking, man, I was like, oh, crap, what is this? Because my daughter is very my kids are very self-regulating. And I thought that she was being like, oh, like there maybe was some sexual innuendo, like college kids going on a date. Yeah, suggestive. And so I was like, I wonder what it was. And I looked because I had it on the Kindle so I could just pull it up on my phone. I was fucking floored, dude. Like I couldn't get past how crude and crass it was.
And
do you want my tinfoil hat?
Wait, it was labeled for young teens on Amazon's website.
14 plus.
And see, like that's what's bullshit. Like,
yeah,
if you have a 14-year-old daughter, you don't want your 14-year-old daughter reading that type of shit. And if you knew that that was in the book, you wouldn't have bought it for her.
If your 30-year-old friend was reading that, you would say this is you're fucking pathetic. It's like,
yeah, like dude,
it's like so, like you
off.
said, so cringe. Like what you're saying is so cringe. It's like the only people idiotic enough to read it are 19-year-old girls, and that tells us how poorly literate they are.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, the last tweet I made on Twitter was about very similarly about a book.
What?
And I'm not going to bring the book up or put it out there. You can go check out my tweet on Twitter. I'm probably not going back to Twitter for a while in the DMs. Just talk to my friends. But it was about the same kind of thing, man. Like, Tony, like you said, you feel like I put extreme things in there, extreme circumstances in there. And sometimes maybe they are. Maybe. I just ask people to do their research because they are taking over the youth of America because they know that is the future.
Maybe, or maybe we're just letting dumb people steer people
in the wrong direction.
Ship too much. Because I asked my daughter, I said to my daughter, because she came down and requested this book, I said, how did you find out about this book? That's what I was more concerned. And then she was like, oh shit, am I in trouble? I was like, no, you're not in trouble. I'm very proud of you for knowing
right
what's
she said, oh shit.
She said, oh shit. No. She said, I saw people talking about it on TikTok. And what it is when you're done with this show, guys, just go TikTok search icebreaker novel.
Mm-hmm.
And the clips are so short and people are making fun. They're not really saying anything, but it's like, oh, you find this, it's like a joke among teenage kids. And it just seems pathetic to me.
Yeah. I like this comment from Kristen Ledane. Make Nancy Drew books great again.
Good Lord. You remember that? Yeah. Do you remember the novel I used to read? The one I bought that because it's called Dabbing with Kim or whatever. And I found the adult novel. You guys don't remember that? How do you not remember that? We used to read passages of it on the show.
Dude,
that was before my time.
Yeah,
did y'all have any memory of? I have no
Let's bring it back.
memory of this.
Let's bring it back.
I'm down. Let's do it.
I'll go into the archives.
Yeah,
I got it on my Kindle. CK, go ahead and read. Go ahead and tell us your ice up pick.
All right. So my ice up pick is honestly going to be a whole host of people, and that's very possibly people included in this panel. People in the chat potentially. This past week there was a ginormous uproar because Elon Musk announced something called rate limits, essentially being that rate limits are intended to help prevent data scraping. At its surface, that's a term that not many people are going to, they're like, oh, it's just people trying to get data. No big deal. When you look at it in the grand scheme of things, it's a pretty big deal, data scraping is. And so Elon Musk made the decision to limit people from seeing more than, if you have an unverified account, it was 400 tweets. If you had a verified account, it was 4,000 tweets. Many people jumped straight to the conclusion that Elon Musk is a dumb billionaire, just making dumb choices that is going to just completely destroy Twitter. Number one, he had announced this was a temporary measure, but also nobody asked the question, why? Like, why would he do this? A lot of people jumped to conclusions about why he would do this. Many people jump into the conclusion that he wanted more people to sign up for Twitter Blue so they could have access to the 4,000 instead of the 400. Well, that doesn't add up because why actually put any limit on anybody who's verified at all? Even with the 4,000 limit. So people were just jumping to these conclusions. And it was a whole thing in like a creator chat. And we were finally going back and forth. Finally, people started to post the stuff that I had been saying as to why this was happening. Like it was to protect our data, not necessarily on an individual basis, but from a grand scheme of things and being able to manipulate our understanding and our own, even our own personal beliefs by understanding how we tweet, what we think about, using the public information that was Twitter previously in a manner that was possibly going to negatively impact our future. So Twitter made this decision to stop all of this from happening by trying to at least limit this until they could find another workaround to help protect that data scraping. The entirety of the Twitterverse just went up in an uproar, just saying that this is so dumb. Like it's unreal the amount of people that were just just completely turned off without asking the question why. Twitter had no benefit whatsoever to do this. This wasn't something that was just a decision that was made for just your inconvenience. It was literally an actual decision that had to be come to, and you have to ask why. You can't just jump to those conclusions. So a lot of those people, I'll leave it blank to anybody on the panel if they want to say that they're one of the people who jumped to that conclusion. Feel free. But and if you were somebody who just jumped to that without asking the honest question of why are you doing this and understanding that there's probably a purpose behind it, then I'm saying ice up to all of you folks, because right now Twitter has been perfectly fine. It's back to normal. Nothing's happened. Nothing's going on. You're back to a normal situation with your data potentially being more protected.
So I want to say this because I basically feel like CK was talking about me a little bit there. One, I want to make something clear. I was the one that posted the information.
Exactly.
That was saying why you would do this, right? And what data miners could do and how they could use it as a bad thing, right? That was always my question. I'm like, well, why does my stuff even need protected in the first place? Because unless you can tell me why, it doesn't seem like a great idea. And even though I do see the merits of it now, CK, like, okay,
they didn't explain it at all.
Right. So
he said data scraping, but if you did a deep dive, you would see.
But no, but that's what I'm saying. What the hell does that even mean? That post that I sent, that was the only post of anyone that I saw that took enough time to explain it in detail, right? But
he didn't even work there.
Yeah,
like you should go to the Twitter business account and they're like, here, you want to know why we did this? And their blurb is like 5 sentences. They should have just linked that guy's tweet.
But the reason why I even brought it up, because if it wasn't made clear why they were doing it, like, okay, I have a check mark. I pay for Twitter, whatever. It helps us promote and do all this shit. But I never ran out of my limit. I mean, I never. Right. Okay. But there were a bunch of people who didn't pay for Twitter who did reach their limit. Yeah. And if you were one of those people and you didn't really even get to spend even a quarter of the time that you spend on Twitter, that might prevent you from coming back to the site, and it might look like you're trying to be pushed into paying for Twitter Blue.
Look,
that's all I was saying.
Look, here's my thing, and I'm on CK's side with this because this is what social media has done to the world right now. Like, honestly, remember when Elon Musk took over Twitter and he said he was going to do Twitter Blue and everyone's going to pay? You remember all the bitches online that were like, I'm leaving Twitter. F this.
They're still on
Twitter. Where are you at now? You're
trying
still
out threads
on Twitter.
I think NPR
you're
left.
still on Twitter bitching about the same bullshit. Okay? Like, social media is a fucking cancer for humanity. It really is.
Let's talk about something more fun.
Hold on. I want to bring this up first. The reason that I say that is because, and I brought this up, is because, number one, Elon Musk is batting 1,000 with businesses. Yes. Okay. First and foremost, he can fail. It's not saying that he's not going to. I'm just saying benefit of the doubt should probably go his way. Second is Twitter, since he's taken over, has had more things added, more features than has been added in the past 5 years.
And made money too.
Combined in just a small amount of time. They might be losing money. That's something that's been happening for years before he even took over, right? And so anybody who was mad about the Twitter Blue, about a guy who took over a dying company to try to turn it profitable and created all these features in an effort to try to give people something that was more than just what it was, like that. And if it's something you can pay for, you don't have to. You're not required to.
I would say this though is I hope that they don't over feature it like what Facebook did. Facebook's just too complicated for me. Like there's just too much to it.
And that's the thing that I concern myself with too. Is like if Elon Musk is throwing stuff against the wall and hoping something sticks, then fine.
Sometimes simple is good, you know.
Right,
is that so? I think some things have been nice.
Yeah, I mean it seems like right now he's trying to be YouTube. He's trying to be Substack. He's trying to be Twitter.
Yeah, he said he wants it to be the all-in-one app.
And I think that's a little bit ambitious. But I think he'll find the middle ground. I think he's going to find the niche that is Twitter, and find what gets those people on Twitter most excited. And then he'll be able to pursue that. But right now, he's just trying to find a way to turn this business into something that is valuable. And not just it
clearly is valuable. He paid $1 bazillion for it,
but it was a losing. Like it hasn't been earning money. Yeah. It's not been a profitable business for years.
You know, who would have thought that running Twitter would have been harder than landing a rocket backwards? But here is
how long did it take him to land? Like actually have a successful liftoff with SpaceX?
It wasn't very long.
It was.
Oh, not less than a decade, though.
Yeah.
But my point, my point is that
that's pretty fast.
But that's
anyway,
right.
This is I can't believe you guys don't remember this. I know we have done this.
I've never seen this.
All right, so this though, by the way, was written. This was released after our Super Bowl year. The title of the book was "Dabbing with Cam: A Cam Newton Erotic Romance."
Nope.
Nope. Yeah. This is. How about this? Is that at least it's listed correctly.
That is a great Photoshop, Tony. There's no way this is real.
Bullshit. Hey, I'm gonna read it to you. Look, it says this. Look at this. It says you purchased this item on February 9th, 2016. Here's a little excerpt from that. They started to get penetration in the backfield. Penetration in the back. This is Cam talking with this woman who went on a tour of the stadium. Yeah, the holes were all closing before they could push through. No penetration in the holes. Cam stood to better make his point. Yeah, they couldn't create holes for penetration. Our offense got a quick blow, and we were back at it. A quick blow? Yeah.
I'm glad we're on Rumble.
Yeah, a quick blow in between possessions is a lifesaver. A lifesaver. Yep. First play we ran an end around and almost scored again. 2 scores. Yep. Multi-scoring situation shot right through the 2-hole. The 2-hole?
What the
Hold on, I like this part.
About?
Hold on. My head was spinning from all the sexual innuendos. Somehow I managed to lift my arms and Cam took my hands in his. Wow, you're gonna have some cuts. You're gonna feel it tomorrow. Gonna feel it tomorrow, huh? Oh yeah. When I get outside the pocket, my aim gets all crazy sometimes. You never know where my balls are gonna wind up. Where do your balls usually wind up? Usually in safe hands. Even when there's pressure, I managed to get it off in time.
What?
Hold on. This was it's like, did they go into the hot tub? And it says next thing I knew, we were dancing, dabbing, and doing the cat daddy. Cam picked up one of the nearby bottles of champagne and sprayed me. I laughed hysterically. It goes on like, hey, you want to get the, I like this one. It said something like, you want to get in the hot tub? And it's just silly.
Tony,
anyway,
did you read this whole thing?
No, I just read excerpts on the show. I can't, man. This is such poor writing.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's so great, actually. Dabbing with Cam.
Well, I don't have to buy it now.
Morgan says, "Why would we know about this, Tony?" I have no recollection of this in my memory at all.
Never heard of it. Yeah.
Well, because I've been doing a podcast for 11 years, and we hit. You know what? I would bet this. When did I buy it? When did I bet? February 9th. Okay, so it was published after the Super Bowl. That's when somebody published it when he got the MVP. So somebody wrote it in a quick hurry. And probably I would have dipped into the Dabbing with Cam excerpts around this time of year, 6 years ago, because there's nothing to talk about. But somehow we found a way to talk for 3 hours plus. It's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every week, usually on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. It's Wednesday because of 4th of July yesterday, but we did not miss another week. It is our 11th season, and we'll keep rocking throughout the year. Smash the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, dab on with Cam, ice up the icebreaker novel. And we'll be back on Friday this week, right, Cody? I think we'll have a Friday show.
Oh yeah. We'll be back.
All right. Greg, where can they find you on Friday?
You can find me on Friday. Well, first of all, on Twitter at the BatDaddy52. Even though I'm pretty much done with Twitter, so everybody I've wanted to talk to on Twitter, I already talked to. So just check out the show live Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. We talk about movies, television shows, comics. I have creators come on, all kinds of really fun stuff. I think this week we're talking about Picard and Secret Invasion, and maybe Jack Ryan. I'm not really sure. Oh, and Indiana Jones. So a lot of fun stuff to talk about this week. Come check us out. And we're live on Rumble and YouTube. So
that's Geeks Chasing Squirrels Through the Multiverse.
Yes.
CK, they can find us 3 weeks from now, Spartanburg. We're going to be at Monster Subs. We're going to be going to training camp. What else is on the agenda? I know for you're going to play some golf.
Got a little golf plan for that Friday. So anybody who has suggestions on a good place to public course to go play on Friday, feel free to send me some ideas. But we got training camp. We're going to be at training camp on the 26th to the 27th. We have the day off on Friday. 29th is going to be the back together Saturday practice in the Gibbs Stadium. After that, there will be a charity event that the many of us will be at from that's one that's hosted by PNP. All the many of the content creators that you guys are used to watching, we'll all be there. You can kind of go out there, mingle with us. There's a potential for some surprise guests. Don't know what that looks like. Don't know if that means players or former players potentially. But you got to think that that's going to be somebody coming out that way. Other than that, outside of the Monster Subs, I think we're pretty open to other options. Obviously, we got to figure out some dinner and stuff like that. But right now, that's the plan.
All right. That sounds like a lot to do, a lot to prepare for until Friday and Tuesday. Cody Lack, take us out of here.
Until next time, C3 Nation, keep pound.